Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, J Rance, driving to an appointment. Good morning. Whoops. I'm a little tired again. Maybe 6:30 is too early for mommy to get up and be ready to go. Let me get rid of this Arctic frost because we're not Arctic frosting today. No, 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 no. We're doing a lot though. Wait, hold on. I don't know where this fucking thing is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There it is. Whoops. No, there it's not. There it is. There it is. Ooh. Oh, good morning. Oh my God. Oh, the moon is so bright. Hello, Sharon Brown. Good morning, Sharon Brown. Oh my lordy, lordy. Look who's 62. It's me. And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling every day of it. Well, I hope that everyone had a great night. Welcome to Wake and Bake with Lolo. I'm Lolo. This is Wake and Bake. Ah, yes, good morning. Well, let's see. I don't even know. I feel like I woke up at about a half an hour ago, and it really kind of threw me off because I usually wake up a couple times during the night, and for some reason I slept through the night last night. And I don't really understand why. I guess I'm tired. Well, I mean, but isn't everybody tired? I think I'm depressed. I think it's depression. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's clinical depression. Maybe it's clinical depression. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. I'm Lolo, and this is the show, and we have a lot of things. I know. Thank you, Jay. I'm fucking tired as fuck recently. I really do feel like it's just the weight of life, and, oh, you took your dog to an Easter egg hunt. Did he find lots of Easter eggs? Oh. Yeah, honey. What's saying people aren't depressed? Yeah, okay. That's a good point. That's a really good point. No, it definitely is it is the season for seasonal depression. No, not seasonal depression. Um, yeah, tis the season for authoritarian depression. I have authoritarianism depression. I have other depression too, but I certainly do have authoritarianism depression. So I have my hoodie on today. That's comforting, actually. Even though it's probably going to get too warm, I don't care. He did. They were filled with dog treats. Oh my goodness, Sharon. That sounds like so much fun. He must have had such a good time. I love that. I love Easter puppies. That's the only good thing about Easter is Easter egg hunts. So that's nice. Well, good morning. Well, we have quite the show for you today. I did stay up a little late, probably, and a little bit. Well, definitely was working on the show. Actually, I'm not even overstating that. Let me find the other. There it is. So I came on earlier than I have been because I kind of want to read some articles before we get into our hearings. And this morning we've got some good stuff. Let me tell you what we've got on tap this morning. Let me tell you what I've got for you today. Let me tell you what I've got. Okay, so there's the oversight of the Office of Personnel Management. Now, it's not as exciting as having like Russ Vogt from the Office of Management and Budget in the hot seat, but we are going to check in and see how it's going with the Office of Personnel Management. Actually, let me show you what we're going to do because you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Yeah, see? Put the money in the bag, see? Okay, let me show you what the fuck I've got, because it's a lot. You're gonna freak out. Freak out. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Say seek. Say freak. Freak out. Do doodly doo. Say chic. Say freak. Freak out. Okay, so first of all, it's the oversight of the Office and Personnel and Management. I know, it might not be that exciting. Then I have this statement this is from Lee, I think, sent this to me. It's from the International Energy Chief, issues stark warning on the Iran war. It looks like it's a little bit of a piece about the longer term impacts of the war.
The UN nuclear watch.
Stop it. And then I have, yeah, this is the guy. I want to hear him. That's what I was having. No, I don't think I'm going to do I'm going to do, no. And then we have arms control. That's coming up this morning, I think. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, that's the patent office. So it looks like, oh yeah, so the patent office and arms control and whatever else I said. Oh, the Office of Personnel Management. So interesting hearings for this morning. We might come about. Good morning, Badger. Badger, Badger, Badger. Badger. Let's see. And oh my God, I'm so tired. Okay. But first, let me read you some articles because look at, I have 45 tabs, which is ridiculous. We won't get to much of them at all. Let's see if there's something we should read immediately. Oh yeah, this is from Aaron in the morning. We'll start with this. Velosa, please. Breaking alert. Good morning, dearest. How are you? Good morning. How are things going over in, I can't remember the name of the game now. God damn it, my mind. Yes, a shirt person. Hi, Teresa. Good morning, gal. CS2. Yes, Counter-Strike. Because you know what I've started playing, Philosa, please? I've started playing probably the baby version of Counter-Strike, which is Tom Clancy's Division 2. Have you ever played that? I'm just not good in games where, like Fortnite and Counter-Strike 2, when you drop me in the middle of a battle and then expect me to, like, help people stay alive and help myself stay alive, I'm probably, like, the last person you want. Doing fine, getting back into some sim racing. Fuck yes! Fuck yes! Fuck yeah! Yeah. Find a weapon first. I know. Well, that part is really hard for me. I mean, I just need to get used to it. But I will say that I really am enjoying Tom Clancy's Division 2, which is funny because I don't really enjoy Tom Clancy. But I will say that I'm getting some of my yayas out. I've heard of the series. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six is the more recent popular one, but I've not played it. That would make sense. Yeah, this seems pretty straightforward. Dystopian DC, running about, killing a lot of people, being killed a lot. Probably more than I'm killing people is I'm being killed. But, you know, it gets some of the stress out. Anyway, I'm having fun with it. And I love watching Philosa Please. He plays Counter-Strike on Twitch, and I really love watching him play. So it's really awesome. I learn a lot from people playing games, actually. And I really enjoy gaming. I am having such a good time. I was never a gamer when I was younger or anything like that. I kind of miss that. And Bobo was a gamer a bit. Like, she was pretty much into stuff like that. But I never really got into it until recently, until retiring, really. And it's super fun. I'm kind of a grandma, but it's super fun. I mean, I'm really trying to get this druid to sleep with me in Baldur's Gate 3. That's all I'm really trying to do. You played the fuck out of Soulblade. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm really into Baldur's Gate 3 too, and I have this one. I have this one druid that I am just trying to really romance and make him fall in love with me. And he hasn't yet, but I think we're getting there. But I think Bobo told me everybody tries to date the druid, so I might just be like yet another dark elf trying to make something happen. Anyway, good morning, Philoso. It's really good to see you. All right, so we have some articles. Let me see. We've got this. I really do want to read about that. Oh, that's not what I really wanted. Let's see. Oh, I'm just so, like, discombobulated. Oh, okay. I do want to, I want to read this, actually. Let's see. Hold on. A little bit of a bang here. Hold on. Hold the phone, June. Okay. All right. Let's read about Jared Kushner, because nothing ruins your morning faster than Jared Kushner. And we'll wait for the appropriations meeting to start. Okay, here we go. Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners. This came from, wait, let me tell you who this came from. This came from Lee. God, Lee, finding the stuff. Lee has a full-time job and then some. And then she finds the most amazing articles. Griffey feels like authoritarian anxiety. Authoritarian anxiety. I love that. That's definitely what I have. I definitely have that. There's a Q-tip on the screen. Wait, what? Oh, I'm like, did I leave a Q-tip in my ear or something? Which is, you know, always a possibility. Yes, there is. There's a human Q-tip on the screen. Good morning, Dan. How are you? How are you? Good one, Teresa. I'm just a little tired for it. Okay, let's warm it up then. Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners investment firm just filed a disclosure showing over $6 billion in assets under management for 6 clients in 2025 compared to $4.8 billion in 2024 and $3 billion in 2023. Well, I'll have what he's having. No, I won't. But anyway. Oh, Jared. Jared, you're a pain in the ass. You know, you want to understand that? You're a pain in my motherfucking ass. All right, Jared Kushner's investment advisory firm Affinity Partners, which is officially registered as a Fin Management and has a new filing that shows over $6 billion in assets under management for 6 clients in 2025. That's a lot of money for 6 clients. I don't know. Affinity is a Delaware limited liability company founded in 2021 with offices located in Florida. And the sole owner is Jared Kushner. Since 2022, the Saudi Public Investment Fund has invested several billion US dollars, and the United Arab Emirates and Qatar have invested hundreds of millions. Kushner's firm receives millions of dollars in management fees each year for investing these funds on behalf of his clients. Jared Kushner, who has consistently denied that he has received preferential treatment as the son-in-law and on-again, off-again advisor to Donald Trump, is now also serving as a lead negotiator, aka crony business deal maker with Russia and the Middle East. Below are highlights from the most recent public disclosure for Kushner's Affinity Partners, along with PDFs of the updated filings. Highlights of his filings, okay. Kushner's AFIN Management LLC has just filed an updated Form ADV and a firm brochure with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission dated March 22nd, 2026 for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. Here we go. Here's how the man made the money. 6 billion. Like how many zeros is that? How many decimal places is that? Yum. 6 million is the amount of regulatory assets under management in Section F of pooled investment vehicles. This amount is approximately 1.2 billion. Billion. You know, the fact that people suffer and this douchebag gets fucking rich beyond rich. Did you have anyone bailing you out of a building? Do you have anyone that bails you out of a $600 million loan or $2 million? I don't even know. 200 million? I can't remember what it was. Oh, Mr. Spock, where the fuck have you been? Yes, we have videos coming up. Don't worry. Any happy news? I'm not very good at happy news. I'm not your happy news station, really. But I'm really glad you're here. We missed you. I hope you're okay. I hope everything's okay. Okay, so let's see. A pooled investment. This amount is approximately 1.2 billion more than the prior year in 2024, which was approximately 4.8 billion and more than double the 3 billion for 2023. Of the 6.2 billion of regulatory assets under management in 2025, the approximate amount attributable to clients who are non-United States was 6,097,061,904, or 99% of the total. And here's the PDF to prove it. Following is a breakout of regulatory assets under management and approximately the number of beneficial owners in 6 funds. Affinity depart. I can't even say this. Oh my fuck. Oh my lord. Affinity Partners Parallel Fund 1 LP, a limited partnership, has $4.3 billion with 6 beneficial owners. Affinity Partners Fund 1 Co-Invest Delta has 1.2, and Co-Invest Sigma has 600 million. A Fund 1 LP has 45 million, one owner. Affinity Partners Co-Invest Delta 2 LP has 12 million. And Affinity Partners 1 Co-Invest Sigma 2 LP has 6 million. He's not very like creative on the names. They list, or they actually include the entire ADV and brochure, which is SEC related information. For related information on where this started, here's my piece from 2022. Okay, so we have that interactive chart. Okay. This is great because I didn't really have a good handle on the money that Jared had made. And I just find it really interesting. How in the world? Okay, wait. Whoa. Let me back up. So you're telling me that a person who works for the White House, because Jared is a special advisor, right? He has a real job, right? He's not just a volunteer, right? I mean, he must have access to security information, like national security, right? Given the job that he does, right? Like, I'm just confused. So if he does that and he has an official role with the administration, how in the world can he make money based on those same relationships? I don't understand how that's legal. Like, why isn't anyone saying anything? I mean, I know that there's general reporting about it, don't get me wrong, but literally, why isn't this a bigger story that this man has personally sucked dick so bad that he's gotten billions of dollars? He must be the best dick sucker on the street, really. But can anyone explain? I mean, I'm asking a serious question. Is there a reason this man is not, like, under investigation for, like, Hatch Act violations or or emoluments or something like that? I know it's anarchy. I know. Well, it's wanton. It's wanton, what do they call that? Craptocracy or something? What is that called? Kakistocracy or something like that. Jared couldn't pass. That's the other thing, Jim Nalgren, good point. He couldn't pass his security clearance in the first administration. What is even happening? I mean, literally, there's no cops. There's no cops on the beat. There's no cops on the beat. You're right, Sharon. We just haven't found out yet. There's no cops. There's no one coming to save us. There's no law and order end of the show where it gets neatly wrapped up and tied in a bow. This guy just runs off into the sunset. Abraham Accords. Give me a break. I mean, I just don't understand how someone who's literally in the middle of very sensitive negotiations with multi powers, right? Like Russia. He's in the Russia talks. He's in the Saudi talks. He's in the Qatari talks. He's in the Iranian talks. He's in the this talks. He's in the that talks. Yeah, loopity loop of stupidity. Stupaloop. We're in the stupaloop. I just don't understand how this isn't like a thing. I don't understand. I don't understand. You know what, everyone? I've changed my mind. I'm going to start just fighting Scientology because, frankly, Taking down Scientology would be much easier than trying to make sense of what the fuck is going on around the world. And those folks who are not anti-Scientology, they seem much happier just in their world of hating each other, not actually taking Scientology down. That's another thing. There's nobody actually taking Scientology down. They're too busy fighting with each other. But I'm telling you right now, it's looking real good. It's looking real good. Because fighting against a complete stripping of rights from entire communities, apart from this douche whistle making billions off the backs of dead children, that's what this guy's doing. He's making billions off the backs of dead babies. You have a world like this. Okay. Anyway. Damn, man. If they lose power, a lot of people will be going to prison. You're absolutely right, Mr. Spock. What does that tell you? Yeah, it's boiling the frog. And you know what? They absolutely know that this is that they really they rolled all the dice. I mean, I can't imagine there's more dice to roll than what they've rolled, but they've rolled all the dice. Now, they could just start en masse shooting people in the street, like large groups of people. I'm not saying that the shootings in the street that our government hasn't already done aren't horrific enough, but apparently they're not horrific enough for us to be like, no. And I don't know what that looks like, right? I don't know what action before the midterms would look like, frankly, because I don't see anyone. No one can go in and you can't kill all these people, right? You can't just go into the administration and kill everybody. That's kind of dumb. That's kind of what they think you should do, is go in and kill everyone and then hope to God that the nice people are left. I mean, for fuck's sake. What do you think happens when you go into a country and kill a bunch of people like their leaders, even if they hated those leaders? What do you think that makes you think about the country that goes in and just fucking starts dropping bombs on not only your leaders, but also your schools? Okay? Because that's what's really happening. Yeah, great Lenny. Yeah, Teresa knows about Baku, Jim. She knows all about that shit. Yeah, the mob's running the world. And that's really, and it's so funny. It's so classically ridiculous to me. Hi, Dean. How are you doing? It's so classically ridiculous to me that that we kind of think about, the fight for democracy and all that. And then we've got people like Jared Kushner going out and literally making $2 billion a year doing fuck all nothing. Not only that, but he's literally fomenting genocide, encouraging it, giving it our blessing, I guess, on our behalf. And this kid could not even pass a motherfucking security clearance. I'm telling you right now. This is so ridiculous. So guess what? If you're on the internet and your entire existence online is number one to fight other people, you're an idiot. You're the definition of an idiot sitting there in a fucking hamster wheel while the world burns. You're worse than this guy. If you're not paying attention to what the fuck is happening in this world and caring more about what's happening to actual human beings, like for realsies, and not some fucking internet drama, you're an idiot. You're just as bad as these people. You just don't have as much money. Because you're trying to distract from what's really happening in this world. I was thinking about it the other day. Here's my idea. And I've been saying this since I first heard of anti-Scientology, which I know I'm picking on them, but they're idiots. Get all your people, get all your followers. I have about 25 really decent friends and followers, okay? So I don't have to get my 25 friends to do anything. They already know what to do. But all you morons out there, go get your stupid ass followers to fill out a form that's available on the IRS website that reports a charity for doing non-charity things, okay? There's a form on the IRS website that you can submit as an individual saying, I have information about a charity that is doing acts that are not, that make them not a church. Okay, this is how you do it. I'm sorry. I don't have time to do this because, frankly, I have more important things to talk about than fucking Scientology. But if you really want to get rid of Scientology, get all your stupid-ass granny followers, all of you. I mean all of them. I'm not picking on one streamer. I'm picking on all of them. Because all the people involved in Scientology and anti-Scientology are stupid and have their heads up their ass. Go ahead and get your stupid-ass followers to fill out that form with the IRS and deluge them with complaints about the fact that Scientology has this event or this, that, or this and the other thing that it doesn't, that nullifies its position as a church. And then you might get an investigation and you might actually take Scientology down. But no, that would be too efficient. You know, you couldn't, you literally.
The subcommittee will come to order.
Hold on.
Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time.
Hold on.
We welcome everyone here to today's hearing on the United States patent.
All right. Anyway, I'm cut off by my idiotic Daryl Issa, one of my least favorite. Anyway, I'm telling you right now, if you want to get rid of Scientology, there's fucking ways to do it. But it sure as fuck isn't what you guys have been doing, because you're a bunch of fucking idiots. Yeah, so there. Okay, let me get this. Hold on. I'm such a bitch. I'm such a bitch. I don't mean to be, but I am. Yeah. I'm just in a nasty mood. Okay, hold on. It's a total grift. Oh my God, Dean. They're not doing anything. They're doing fuck all. It's so ridiculous to me.
In trademark office.
Okay, hold on.
And I want to make it clear that at the stroke of
here's the radical leftist at the trademark office. Actually, this is kind of an important function. Lee has more information on why this is really an important piece, but there's something about the patent office, which actually I can't remember. We had a conversation about the patent office, and now I can't remember. Yes, Bob, as soon as I heard about the waterfront resort they are planning for Gaza, I started to see some of the why all about the money. Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. It is BAD bad. It's bad, bad, bad. It's bad. All right, let's go. Let's listen to some of this.
And we started, which is practically a record. But also that this is an extremely busy day. Most members serve on 2 or 3 committees, so you'll see them coming in and out.
I have an idea, Congress. I know you're busy because I try and track all your fucking activities, okay? And I'm going to tell you, having all of these hearings on this day is fucking ridiculous. And that means, that guarantees that Americans are not going to pay attention to what happened in these congressional hearings. And what could happen is there are days like Mondays and others that are completely empty. Okay? So Congress, you need to have more than a 2-day week. You need to have more than a 2-day week, you stupid fucking... I'm so done with rich people. Fucking eat the rich, okay? Fucking eat the rich.
Subcommittee on Financial Services and General Government will come to order.
Okay, I'm not going to play with you right now. I'm going to play with Daryl.
That's not on either side without objection. I now recognize myself for an opening statement.
Okay. Mr. Jim, just to be clear, any member who arrives from the committee will be waived on.
We waive on. The specifics of the committee rules are that They still have to be yielded time from a member of the subcommittee.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
But I always say that so that everyone understands in advance. Also that pursuant to the rules of the full committee, we won't waive on people who are not members of the Judiciary Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And we welcome the ranking member of the full committee here too. Normally I make relatively short opening statements, but this is a particularly important hearing. It's important because there's never been a time in our history in which getting it right, not just on patents as we've known them, but patents are as they are emerging. I want to thank the Undersecretary for, among other things, clarifying in AI the pathway to patentability. I certainly think that when we look at the ambitious agenda set out by President Trump, he has selected well an Undersecretary to make sure that we can reach that. One of the first actions of Mr. Squires was, in fact, as director, to take steps to move the president's AI agenda and to strongly support it. This meant going above and beyond, and with some changes to the Biden-Harris policy, which came out late in the administration.
Hi, Stephanie.
This thoughtful change, I believe, will bear well for the foreseeable future. But like everything else in AI, I will expect it will not be the last time that guidance will have to come either from the director or, if necessary, from Congress. And in fact, as we speak, we still live with the memory of the Copyright Office saying that AI is not copyrightable. And the idea that AI-assisted production is not copyrightable or patentable, of course, is now in our taillights, but it will not leave our memory. Additionally, under the director's guidance, he set forth these clear guidelines for innovation. This, I believe, will accelerate the examination, but it comes with a price. As we know, AI is a wonderful tool, but AI can, in fact, extend and elongate patents that might have had 10 claims and a few dependent claims now might have thousands of claims. That means that one of the things that the director has asked for that we have to take serious consideration on is how we deal with long or particularly complex patents. Should there be a multi-tiered, and this will be discussed today, should there be a multi-tiered process for billing? As many on this committee know, when the Congress, on a bipartisan basis, bicameral basis, made two decisions. One was that fee setting would be transferred substantially to the Trademark Office, Patent and Trademark Office, but also that fees collected would be embargoed, meaning they are not to be spent anywhere else in any agency, including Commerce, in which the Trademark and Patent Office is nestled. That means that there is an obligation to raise enough funds to modernize the Patent Office. Federal workers are stressed today in the Patent Office because they currently do not have the tools to keep up with the demand. In 18 human hours, 17 to 18 human hours, the question is, do we get it all right on 1,000 claim, including dependent claim, patent application? And the answer, of course, is no. One of the goals set out by the director, which I completely agree with, and I believe everyone on the dais does, is that we have to work hard to continue to sustain or improve.
I'm already bored, and Steny Hoyer is talking. He mentioned Russ Vogt, so that immediately got my attention. So we're we're switching to Russ Vogt's for the meeting for the thing. Okay, wait, where are you? Uh-oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Oh no. That's weird. Where is that? Hold on. I'm so sorry. What? Oh, there it is. Oh my God. I thought I was going insane. Insane. Okay, well, Daryl, we'll see. We'll check in if we get really bored, but oh shit. Right now, I don't want to. Oh wait, what's that? Hold on. I'm sorry. Hearing on the impacts of the DHS. Oh, yeah, there is a hearing on the impacts of the DHS shutdown. I don't really give a shit. I'm so sorry. That's probably terrible. But I'd rather talk about the Office of Personnel Management, which apparently it does have something to do with Russ Vote. So I want to find out what it is. So we're going to listen to Steny Hoyer, and his opening statement. Again, apologies.
Their loyalty to the Constitution, not to whoever sits in the Oval Office. I've been on this committee for a very long period of time, essentially since January of 1983, with 20 years off for leadership services. But I've asked almost every person who's come out of the private sector to compare their federal workers with their private sector workers. Invariably, they say they are surprised at the high level of commitment, efficiency, and effectiveness of their federal employees. You're shaking your head, and maybe I'll ask you that question when that's timely. Last summer, OPM also canceled its annual Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey, which measures federal workers' morale and the organizational performance on their agencies. It will not surprise you, I'm somewhat skeptical, and apparently that the answers were not wanted. No wonder the administration does not want that survey to see the light of day. I understand that many of these policies either predate you or did not originate with you. So this is not, we'll find out where you want to go. But you and the rest of OPM are pivotal in carrying out these policies. I'm eager to hear you in how you intend to stop these attacks on our merit-based civil service, which is really the pride of
Subcommittee on Financial Services.
this
General
government in
will come
many
to order.
ways in comparison with the rest of the world. I also want to make it clear that I believe the objective to improve government efficiency is an absolutely essential objective. We need to modernize how the federal government handles HR, and you've advocated for some changes that I agree with on paper. We'll see how they're executed. You want to improve skills-based hiring and modernize retirement processing, so do I. But I'm skeptical that OPM can take these changes when it lost a third of its staff in the past 14 months, and when it is trying to do the job of the Merit System Protection Board as well. We've already seen signs that OPM has stretched itself too thin. May I have unanimous consent to have another minute? This is critically important agency, as you can tell, as you know. In the past few weeks, thank you, I know I have. In the past few weeks, one of my district workers has received 50 cases, past weeks, of federal retirees who've seen disruption in their retirement benefits. I see in your statement you deal with that. They need those benefits to keep a roof over their heads. They have tried calling, emailing, and visiting OPM in person, all to no avail. Director Cooper, you are clearly very capable and have had a successful career in business. I'm sure you know from experience how important employees are to the success of any enterprise. That's why Vote's remarks are so antithetical to any kind of human resources policy by any government, large or small, or any private sector.
Jen, I see celebrities bringing up the airports, ATCs, and TSA. I was kind of surprised they're mostly quiet. ATC is understaffed and overworked. So, Jen, you're saying are people complaining about the airport issues? I wish this wasn't so buzzy. Are you talking about people are complaining about the airport issues? Oh my God, you're kidding me. Celebrities are upset about the airports, but they haven't said anything else about anything else? They're just mad they can't get to their fucking whatevers? Are you kidding?
Sector enterprise, no business
Yeah, poppies are easy
can
to
treat
grow.
its workforce this way and expect greater efficiency. For the sake not only of our federal employees, but the American people they serve every day, I hope we can find a way to work together to turn this situation around. And I thank you very much, as I said at the beginning, for offering your services in this role.
Thank you, Mr. Hoyer. The chair will now recognize the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Lolo, for a 5-minute opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to Ranking Member Hoyer. Thank you to the Director for your testimony this morning and for answering our questions here today. The Office of Personnel Management, or OPM, is often described as the Human Resources Department for the federal government. It wields an incredible amount of influence over the quality of life of more than 2 million federal workers. It determines the benefits that they receive, the salaries they make, the promotions they earn. In short, it governs the conditions under which these employees work. Because of this, OPM holds a lot of power over the quality of the public services these employees provide. If workers are mistreated, if they are unfairly removed or unjustly punished, the quality of service the American public receives is lessened. If workers are not rewarded for their commitment or their contributions, we are all worse off for it. Career civil servants are experts in their fields. They often forego much higher private sector salaries because they feel drawn to public service out of a sense of duty or patriotism or responsibility to the nation. They make a personal sacrifice for the public good, and I believe that that is commendable. But since this administration took office, it has been one trauma after another for the federal workforce. They have been subjected to illegal firings, followed by sporadic court order reappointments. They have been stranded abroad in the middle of humanitarian missions. They have been demeaned, forced to prove the value of their work, honestly, to the unqualified underlings of Elon Musk. It is clear that this is an abuse of power. The countless court rulings invalidating these illegal actions should be evidence enough. But beyond the obvious illegality is the immorality. These are honest, these are hardworking men and women who have chosen to serve their country.
Dragons aren't evil,
And
Mr.
in
Spock.
my
Dragons
view,
are wonderful.
They deserve
They're like
better.
dinosaurs.
Oversight
They're
at
like my
OPM
cousins.
is clearly necessary in order to ensure the kind of reckless, illegal abuses we saw carried out under this administration, that they cannot happen again. If we want to have a capable federal workforce that can provide the high-quality public services the American people have come to depend on, then we need to treat them fairly. There are many challenges ahead for OPM. I look forward to hearing the Director's answers to this committee's questions and how you plan to navigate them. And I thank you and I yield back.
Thank you very much, Ms. DeLauro. Today, we welcome the testimony of Scott Cooper, Director of the Office of Personnel Management. Mr. Cooper, without objection, your written testimony will be entered into the record. With that in mind, we ask you to summarize in 5 minutes your testimony and look forward to hearing from you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Joyce, Ranking Member Hoyer, and as well Ranking Member Lolo. Thank you for being here, and members of the committee. It's an honor to be here today, and I do appreciate the opportunity to appear in front of you and talk about the work of the Office of Personnel Management. Since my confirmation last summer, as Mr. Hoyer, you mentioned, I've been here since July. I've tried to approach this role with the same mindset I brought from decades in the private sector. That means getting the fundamentals right, people, systems, and culture, so the government can operate efficiently, innovate where it needs to, and earn the trust of every taxpayer. Today, I'd like to zero in on 3 of the priorities that are driving our efforts today at OPM, and I look forward to your questions. Number 1 is ensuring that we have the right employees in the right roles at the right time and in the right places across government. Number 2 is being good stewards of taxpayer dollars by modernizing the federal workforce ecosystem to eliminate outdated processes and systems that unfortunately waste time and money. And third, it's important for us to drive a high-performance culture where excellence is rewarded, accountability is real, and everyone is set up to do their best work every day. Let's start with the first option here, which is having the right people in the right roles. As you know, this is the foundation of any high-performing organization, public or private. But in government, we've historically struggled even to get a clear picture of who we have and where the gaps are. One of the early moves that we did in this administration was to replace what we call the outdated FedScope tool with the new federal workforce data that we launched fairly recently on opm.gov. The old system was clunky, it was hard to navigate, it often lagged months behind reality. This new portal delivers monthly updates, a much cleaner user experience, and real-time insights into workforce composition, demographics, and trends. For the first time, leaders across agencies, the public, and importantly, members of Congress can see the data clearly when they want to see it, and they can act upon it. With that visibility, we've now zeroed in on some critical weaknesses and challenges that I believe we have in the government. There's no question that tech talent is an issue, as well as early career hires. These stand out as persistent pain points in the government. One of the initiatives we've launched to try to address this is called Tech Force. This is a cross-government initiative to bring in 1,000 early career technologists over 2 years. We hope these will be sharp, motivated engineers and developers who will embrace the new modernization activities that are happening across all of the industries, HHS, Treasury, Department of War, and others, and accelerate the efforts that we're working on. We've designed this as a public-private partnership designated to inject fresh talent where it's needed most, while giving participants career development, speaker series, exposure to both government missions and private sector opportunities at the end of the program. The numbers that we face today on the demographics tell a really important story. Today, about 7% of the federal workforce is early career or under the age of 30. On the other end of the spectrum, nearly half of the federal workforce is over the age of 50. These numbers are wildly different from what the representations are in the broader workforce. On the 7% that we have in government, in comparison, there are 23% of all American workers who are under the age of 30. So by a factor of 3 to 1, we have a very, very important demographic imbalance that I believe is unsustainable. Without deliberate attention to attract and develop the next generation, we risk an existential capability gap.
Wait, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did he just say all the people over 50 that they're, wait, what? Did he say that there's more? I don't understand this. Is this not Soylent Green? What's the other one that we watched? Logan's Run. This is Logan's Run. That's what this is. This is Logan's Run. Andy Cohen was bitching about it. None of them ever say shit. Oh boy, I'm gonna go ballistic on Hollywood. Fuck this. I'm never gonna work in this town. Which is fine. I mean, I'm too old anyway. But
that will undermine
Oh
our
my
ability to
God.
effectively serve the American people in the years ahead. Tech Force is just a start
Way over
program that we have here,
22.
but we will roll out additional cross-government efforts to make sure that we can fill this gap and build a pipeline of talent that reflects America's future. Our second priority is modernizing the federal workforce system. Right now, human capital is inefficient. We have more than 120 disparate
50
human capital
is
systems
old?
across government
Oh,
for which we spend
hello,
billions
Neil.
of dollars, and we have poor data, duplicative data, and that doesn't make any sense. We're tackling this head on with a project that we call Core HCM, where we are looking to bring a single instance
Neil's
of
newspaper
healthcare
man
system,
was roused
human
early.
capital system into government to reduce costs, increase efficiency, and stop wasting resources on redundant systems. In addition, we have more than 45,000 HR professionals in
Yeah,
government
but
who spend an
okay.
inordinate amount of their
Yeah.
time trying to collect data out of outdated systems.
I'm so
and
sorry.
therefore are unable to
I'm-
participate in helping employees.
I'm so sorry that Hollywood is inconvenienced by the airport closures. Can they talk about the fact that people who are trans in Kansas don't have IDs and won't have an answer to that until maybe even September, October at the earliest? Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the draconian measures that are actually now in place? I'm going to talk this morning about maternal mortality. Can Andy Cohen get upset about maternal mortality raising in the post row? Can he talk about that? Can he be mad about that? No. Are they just mad because the lines at airports are crazy long? Is that why they're mad? Okay, I got it. It's going to release bullshit. Anonymous isn't going to release fuck all, Jim Nalgren. Anonymous is a bunch of fucking incels who didn't get enough love from their mommy, and now they decided that they're going to maybe sometimes release them. They don't even have any information. I'm so done. I am so done. If you're so big and bad and you have all this information, then fucking do something with it. Oh, God. You know,
actually achieve what we want from a career development
yeah,
perspective.
pay
and making
attention
sure
what
we have the
might,
right
yeah,
talent.
yeah, exactly.
The introduction of this new system will enable those HR professionals to be able
Yeah,
to
if it
refocus
affects
their
you,
efforts
then
in the
that's
areas that
it,
we think are
right,
most
Jen?
important.
Yeah.
You mentioned, Mr. Hoare, the retirement process. This has long time been a source of frustration. I'm sure it's not new to any of you. This has been a paper system for 50 plus years. Quite frankly, it's an insult to the
Are they
hardworking federal
complaining
employees
now?
as they transition into retirement. Many of these individuals have devoted their entire federal careers to the public service, and we have done them a tremendous disservice in terms of how we've handled this. We launched this year the online retirement application. More than 130,000 annuitants now have gone through that system, and we are seeing incredible progress. We actually have doubled our productivity in terms of the amount of applications we can process, and we've reduced our processing times by more than half. This is critically important. At the same time, we have also made sure that every employee who is retiring within 7 days has access to interim pay while their application is being adjudicated. That compares with 40% in the prior administrations. We want to make sure that the transition of retirement is respectful and important for others. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we're focused on building a high-performance culture, and this starts with hiring. We've eliminated unnecessary proxies for merit, like rigid degree and tenure requirements, and shifted to functional and technical assessments that actually measure whether someone can do the job. Retention and performance, though, go hand in hand. Today, performance management is broken. Nearly everyone in government gets ranked at top of the system. 99.7% of employees every year are ranked at or above expectations. 0.3% of people are ranked below expectations. As wonderful as I agree the federal workforce is, that is not a system that engenders accountability. None of this is about politics, partisanship, or shrinking government for its own sake. It's about creating an environment where federal employees can come to work, do their best work every day, are held to clear standards, and recognized for outstanding work. If we get the people right, we modernize the systems and foster a culture of high performance, we end up with a more efficient workforce. I see that I have exceeded my time, and you've been very generous to give me an extra minute. So with that, I will wrap up and look forward to your questions.
God, I just want to punch
I try
him.
to be
Can I just punch him in the face?
fair and let everyone have an
What,
equal amount
what
of
are you
overtime.
baking?
Exactly right, yes. I feel vindicated, thank you.
And I now recognize myself for the first question. Director,
I'm calmer
you've
this
talked
morning, so I
several times
can
about
take
the
this a
work
little better.
OPM
Oh,
is doing
Stephanie.
to modernize outdated
What's
systems
live,
throughout
Jen?
the federal government.
I don't see anything.
Discuss how
What's live?
technology can revolutionize the federal
And what are you
retirement
baking?
process. You're
We
just
want to
talking.
live through you, Stephanie.
Would you talk about what OPM has focused on over the last year? What projects did OPM start? What projects are completed? And what projects remain? And what is the timeline for their completion?
Absolutely, yes. And Mr. Chairman, as you mentioned, look, one of the things we're trying to do here is, in order for us to deliver great service to the American people without hopefully bankrupting the country, we have to use technology to modernize our system. So let me give you a couple examples. One, I mentioned the retirement
I don't
services
have any
system.
brain
So
cells,
today, that
Josh.
is a
Good
live
morning.
operational system. 130,000 applications have been processed through that system. We're able to turn those around in 30 to 40 days compared to the 90-plus days that it takes us on the old paper system. We have a lot more work to do, so you will see as we get through the end of this fiscal year, our goal is we want 90% of all applications to be done electronically, and we want to reduce our transaction processing time to 15 days. I think that's important for us to do. That work is ongoing. We also have a project that we've started that will also complete at the end of this fiscal year to modernize the call center in retirement. So without a doubt, if you look over long.
So, hi, Clark. Good morning. So basically, this is just, this is the Office of Personnel Management, and they are the ones who are like the HR department for the federal government. And this guy is supposed to be talking about his year in review and how great he is. And it's Scott Cooper. And he basically thinks that robots should do the work. He thinks that Doggy was a great start, but now we have to make Doggy, I don't know, this is really interesting. I can tell it's going to be one of those days where nobody's going to ask the question that I think should be asked, which is about all the doggy work and what actually resulted of the doggy work, right? Like what policies and what procedures actually changed. And he's saying something about automating some of the processes, which I understand the automating processes stuff. I get that. But that's not, like, that's pretty standard motherfucking departmental management shit. Like, yeah, you should have a project to do X, Y, and Z. Number one, this guy is talking too fast for me because, frankly, he's just making me feel like I hate him more and more. The more he talks, the more I hate him. Yeah, exactly. It's like a fluffing review, and I don't know if we're going to get down to business when it comes to what's happening for the federal workforce and all that. What's he doing with the pencil? Well, we'll see. We'll see what he does with the pencil, Josh. That might be the most exciting thing about this. At least he finally, yeah, there's a government fucking with us. Yeah, no, I agree, Jen. I agree. You're right. Thank you for reminding me. I'm not a good person when it comes to, like, you know, building consensus. I get real mad at people, so I should probably stop.
We have
yeah,
not done a great job
since
in terms of being able to
1991.
respond to questions from annuitants in a timely fashion. Unfortunately, again, that's because we have no modern technology to do that. We are completely
No modern technology. You're telling me that in 2025, when this douchebag got to the OPM, that the OPM was complete paper, not on a computer, not nothing, right? Are you telling me that's what happened? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes, anonymous is an op. Jen, you might be behind a little bit. You might want to hit and speed up to the
revamping that system, and I'm very confident that will happen.
Thank you. Like a few
I mentioned
minutes
HR system, so a critical project that we are working on is the introduction of a single HR system that will cover all 2 million civilian employees. That will not only save us a tremendous amount of money, but will actually solve a lot of these problems. So just to give you an example, Mr. Chairman, in retirement, one of the reasons why it's so complicated is when you retire, we have no history of your government. We have never actually kind of gone through and said, great, you know, you worked at these 5 agencies over these 25 years. We are assembling all that information for the first time when somebody retires. In my mind, that's just insane. If we actually had a centralized human resources system, you should be able to know at all times exactly what your employment history is, and therefore the process of retirement, all the information is there for us to adjudicate that. So this is a great example where the introduction of a consolidated HR human resources system will actually have downstream effects for some of the other challenges we have. So those are some of the projects we're working on, but I would say more generally, one of the things we're trying to do is how do we find ways to utilize technology so that we can deliver more services on behalf of the American people at higher quality? Our health and insurance program is another area that we're going to focus on. Even, quite frankly, how we do regulatory, writings and how we kind of, process policies. All of those things can benefit from technology, not as a substitute for humans, but as a way to augment human work so that we can actually increase the productivity of the workforce.
That's great. And my dear friend, Mr. Amade, who soon will be retiring, has volunteered to test the efficiency of your system.
We would appreciate that. We need user testing, so thank you, sir.
What can the committee do to ensure that OPM has the resources it needs to continue modernizing?
Not been dealt with, and we're very confident we can deliver in the resources you provided us.
I can't do it.
Thank you very much. We now recognize Ranking Member Hoyer for, I'm sure, will be a series of questions.
Thank you very much. Let me say, we had in place, when I was either majority leader or minority whip, and McCarthy was one of the two, we, number one, focused on technology. Number two, DOGE replaced U.S. Digital Services, which was under this committee as well.
Okay.
And we had a program to bring in experts from outside, younger people, highly trained in tech, to come in for short periods of time. So this is a program familiar to me, which I think can have great benefit. So I certainly agree with you. Attaining the objectives that you say in terms of making sure that we handle cases in a timely fashion of retirement in particular. It's been traumatic for. Now, let me ask you specifically, I mentioned the trauma that Mr. Vogt said he wanted to impose. Would I be correct in saying you think that is not a positive policy to either recruit or retain the young people that you want to come to government to bring their skills?
Yeah, Mr. Hoyer, look, obviously, I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on Mr. Vogt's comments. What I think you're hearing from me and what I believe strongly in is we need to, in order to attract the best and the brightest, we have to have a system that enables people to do their best work, to learn, to grow, develop, to be recognized for what they're doing, and by the way, to be held accountable. I do think that's important. I think, unfortunately, I think the accountability system we have today is lacking. So that's where I'm trying to focus the OPM efforts.
I understand the appropriateness, but he is, after all, essentially the chief financial officer of the United States of America. Those are comments he does not deny. He made them. He continues to make similar statements. That is antithetical to getting young people to come into which you say is a priority. Yes, we have a senior workforce. Federal employment has historically been more stable.
Yeah.
It is not now. And not being so, first of all, we shut down government, which is a stupid policy for us to do across the board, Democrat or Republican. And secondly, we don't pay people as much as we pay them in the private sector for the same job, and probably with more responsibility, but maybe not as much accountability, which is a disconnect. So I ask you, in terms of sending a message to those young people you want to recruit, what is that positive message we're going to send them in the context of the environment we see in federal employment today?
Yeah, I'll tell you precisely the message that I'm going to send them, which is, and many of which I think we agree on. What I would like to see is I would like to see every young individual in this country come to government for some period of time. And by the way, we designed this Tech Force program for 2 years because I don't think young people actually think about 40-year careers. I think they think about small increments. So number one, what I want to tell them is, look, come solve the hardest, most complex problems that there is. Be in an environment where you can do your best work, an environment where tenure, quite frankly, does not determine your performance, but your actual merit determines your performance. And then when you've done your 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, if you want to stay here, God bless you, we'd love to have you. If you want to go to the private sector, that's great too.
Okay. All right. Yeah, AmeriCorps, great again. Right. Okay. I have a lot to say about this, or I'll just have a little bit of something to say about this. So I managed people for at least a good 25 years. Of my 35-year career, I probably managed teams about 25 years of that. So, I ran profit and loss centers, right? I ran a high school which had its own distinct profit and loss, right? So I had to run the budget. I had to do all that stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now what I know. I'm going to tell you right now around Management 101. Management 101. It is absolutely the stupidest thing in the entire world to say and think about your staffing in terms of 2 to 3 to 4 year increments. The amount of money that you spend training a new employee and the ramp up of that employee is at least 6 to 9 months, right? Let's talk about humans, human development, human organizational development, right? Human performance. This man is not qualified to run a Burger King because he thinks that it's just fine to churn through employees, and he thinks that someone likes that answer, because I know he doesn't know what that really entails. And that is the dumbest, most wasteful, most incredibly vapid, not foreseen, not good steward of public funds attitude I have seen in a minute. And that's saying something with this government. So no, sir, you don't just say, oh, come on in, go for 2 to 3 years, go hard, and then get the fuck out. No, that's actually stupid. That means that you don't know how to manage people and how to build a team that performs and how to actually deliver on whatever service promise you have or whatever. Like, that to me disqualifies this man from really running anything. But he'll say it real confidently, and hopefully you'll buy it.
I think that's the message that we got to tell people. I think we have failed in telling that message, quite frankly.
I think certainly our actions have belied that message in many instances, both in shutting down the government and in our lack of compensation matched to skills.
I would welcome the opportunity to work with you on compensation. I couldn't agree more that compensation is a real challenge. Now, look, we're never going to pay, the government's never going to pay what the private sector is, and that's fine. But look, we would welcome the opportunity. What we are trying to do, just so you know on our end, we are trying to eliminate things that mislevel people in the organization. So today we have strict degree and tenure requirements in almost every job. We can eliminate those and use actual performance as a way to level people appropriately. And we can eliminate what we call time and grade, which are tenure-based promotions as opposed to performance-based promotions. Those are things that we can do through regulation. We would love to look at the comprehensive GS pay schedule with you and your team and figure out a way that we can address that.
The trade-off, of course, was stability and less pay. What we've done is we've undermined very, very substantially stability. So if you're a young person looking to come into service, you look at an employer that is sending a very negative message, not you, but the CFO of our country, sending a very negative message regarding federal employees. And the second thing, we don't pay competitive wages, and we take too long to hire people.
I'm going to be honest, like back in the day when I was living in DC and stuff like that, I definitely applied for a bunch of jobs in the government. And the attraction to the federal government for me was the chance to do work that I wanted to do, but also a very stable environment, right? A pay grade I knew was going to happen. And more importantly, benefits. I knew I was going to get health care. I knew I was going to get a pension. I knew I was going to get those things. So that was very attractive to me. And I was pretty young. I was definitely under 50. So I think that he's wrong. Like, people do want that stability, and they will decide if in 5 years that they need to move on to something else, right? You can still have that shorter tenure, but definitely people look to, at least I did, look to federal government jobs as a potentially more stable employer than a nonprofit that risks, losing funding and not being able, right? Like, that's scary sometimes when you work in nonprofit or any business, I would imagine. So I think that stability is a good thing. And I actually found that the salaries maybe it's just because I worked for a nonprofit, so I didn't make as much as I did when I was in the truly private sector. But I found that the salaries in the government schedule, the GS schedule, it was great for a resume. You could really go anywhere after that. I found that the GS schedule was pretty decent, actually. I mean, it wasn't like, the best, but it was pretty decent for what you got. And it certainly, again, was more stable. And as a single mom, I was always looking for more stable, frankly. I didn't want to have to be hustling all the time. I had a daughter to raise on my own. So I wanted that. So this is ridiculous. This Cupper guy or whatever is just a real nut job. I don't know. Ugh. It's just like the terrible. Yeah, we sorted the worst people to the top of everything, apparently.
Perhaps and I agree with you. I've told the unions we need to have a system that the American public is confident gets rid of non-performers. So I agree with you on that, and I look forward to working with you on that. My time has expired.
Mr. Chairman, can I just respond to one comment from the ranking member? And you and I may disagree on this. I actually don't think stability for young people is the most compelling message. Now, there may have been a time when kind of young people thought about that. I'm lucky enough to have kids that are this age. I think people think in 2, 3, 4 year
increments. You have 3 daughters, and I have 3 daughters.
I do, yes, sir. So, again, we may disagree on this. I think what young people want is they want to build their careers, they want to learn, they want to be surrounded by smart people, they want to be in an environment where they can actually progress and be recognized for that. And that's why the early career push is exactly, consistent with our push around performance management culture. I think those teams go hand in hand.
You know what I think? I think performance management culture sucks balls, because you usually end up with some moron like this at the head of it, sitting in judgment of your performance when that person doesn't even fucking know half of what you do about your job. I mean, have we all been there? Yes, we've all been there at some point in our careers. So, no, sir, I don't want an idiot, right, running my department. I don't really want that. So I think he's wrong. Now, maybe his kids live in the lap of luxury and they don't give a shit about having to make the rent. That might be it. Maybe they do want to just go and play like the little Nepo babies that they are. But that's not the way the rest of us live. And when you have a kid to feed and you got to find a place to live and you have to afford an apartment in fucking Washington, D.C., or at least close enough because you don't have a car, so you got to be close enough and still be able to afford it. and still manage to get your kid to daycare or school or whatever it is that she's into at that point, okay? Girl, I want stability. I want benefits. Oh my God. And I look at my kid now who doesn't have a child. I mean, she has me, but she doesn't have a child. She's just about to be 30. She's doing good in her career, but she's in the private sector, and it can be scary. And guess what? Film projects end, and you have to get another job. So I don't think if she had a choice that she would be jumping from job to job all the time. I think she might want to stick with it. Right now, she's been with this one production crew for a few years, right? And it's been great. I don't know. I hate this guy. And I'm just about ready to change this, but I don't know.
Thank you very
Time
much.
has expired.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Now recognize Mrs. Hinson for any questions she may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to our ranking member as well. I'm glad to hear, Director Cooper, that merit is back in the federal government. I'm excited to hear.
For most of the jobs that we're doing on reporting that,
Instead.
bring them in-house. That's exactly right. So principles that we're all talking about.
Sorry, I have very little patience for bullshit.
Manage that as a
Yeah, he
single
thinks
bucket
he's
of
hilarious.
dollars and to go through and figure out where there are opportunities to reduce contractor dollars and, quite frankly, increase FTE headcount.
So bring
We are-
those people
We are
in-house
supporting that.
instead.
Bring them in-house. That's exactly
That
right.
makes better
So
sense.
I would be perfectly happy if actually the 2 million headcount number in the government goes up because we brought the contractor number down because we will absolutely save money.
He would like to remove contractors, which, I don't know how people feel about that. There are a lot of contractors that work for the government. I have no idea. Yeah, he did put down the pencil. But that's interesting because I don't know how contractors would feel about that. I think contractors might feel a little certain way about that, about needing to be an employee of the department. I think people who are contractors really love their contractor gig. I don't know, maybe. I'm not sure.
And we will actually deliver a better service for the American people.
Well, thank you. I see my time has expired. I appreciate it. Thank you, Director Cooper.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Chair now recognizes Mr. Pocan for his 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Director Cooper, for being with us. I always appreciate when people take a break from very successful careers to come to the federal government. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that. I do have some questions around DOGE and employees because we tried to get DOGE to come before the committee and they thumbed their nose at us, so they never came. And I get it after watching the depositions from the DOGE bros. I wouldn't want those folks in front of us either. But how closely did you, in your tenure, work with DOGE for those about a half a year that you had overlap?
Virtually none at all. So as you probably know, I was installed here around July 14th.
Right.
Elon Musk, obviously, who was leading DOGE at that time, had already left government. Now, obviously, as you well know, there are people who were, kind of part of the DOGE organization.
And they kind of disbanded around November, you're saying, I think, from your...
Yeah, it didn't get, DOGE has never been disbanded. Certainly the principles that we're all talking about here around efficiency is there. But certainly Elon Musk as the leader of that organization and kind of, OPM and GSA kind of, working on those teams, that was all predated my time.
Because DOGE never came, it's even as members of Congress, we don't know much about it. Is it possible to get us the full accounting of every individual who served within DOGE, the legal authority in which they were hired, their positions, titles, compensation, and even their resumes? Is that something that you can get to us for the people who work with DOGE?
I don't know precisely, but I'd be very happy to go back to my team and see if that is information that we have and we can make it available.
If you could, and if it's at all possible, because I don't think it'd be that hard to put that together by the time we mark up the budget, April 15th, in case we want to add any amendments and things, would be very helpful to us.
I'd be delighted to take that back to the
I
team.
appreciate that. Thank you. And also, as you said, just kind of inferred anyway, not everyone left. DOGE is still kind of around. Do we know how many of the DOGE employees are still embedded in other agencies?
I don't know the answer to that, but again, I think that's a question which
Get us
we
that
can
info
certainly
at that same
determine.
timeline. Thank you. I appreciate that. Another thing is a lot of the DOGE-affiliated individuals came from the private sector, and they were reported to have retained financial ties to these companies, and then also got personnel data that may or may not have left the federal government in a may or may not legal way. How much is OPM responsible for oversight over that? And have any of those agreements been reviewed for potential violations that they may have signed at the time before taking data with them?
So OPM would only be responsible to the extent there were individuals who were actually employed via OPM. As you know, as you mentioned, all those individuals were employed through the USDS organization. So I think the right organization to ask those questions would be USDS, not OPM.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate that. And then finally, did you get a chance to see the depositions of the Doge Bros that's been kind of widely out there?
I have a Twitter feed, or sorry, an X feed. So yes, I think most of us saw that.
Gotcha. They implied that they were using like Chat GPT and things like that to do the work that they have. And many of them people now, I think, are finding out that they might have lost their job. Obviously, a huge number of people by decisions made by Doge employees. Is there any appeal process to these employees that may have now found out that they lost their job, not from a human, but from AI or Chat GPT?
I don't know the specific answer to that question. Look, as you know, there is a very, very robust appeal process within the federal government, through the MSPB or through various other things. So certainly to the extent any employee feels like they have an employment case that they want to bring, there are plenty of avenues for them to do so.
I guess a related area is also, you've reclassified federal employees under schedule, policy, career, and I think the comment was nothing else happens to those folks. But I think the employees feel like something else has happened because they've lost access to the Independent Office of Special Counsel for whistleblowing complaints and some other eligibilities they lost under recruitment, retention, relocation incentives. Because I know it's been said nothing else happens, but there have been other things under that reclassification. What written notice did they receive about those changes? And again, did they have an ability to contest that reclassification through OPM, given it is different than nothing else happens?
Yeah, so the reason there's been no written notifications is the rule has not gone into effect yet. So the way the rule will go into effect is the White House will issue a list of, via an executive order, it will issue a list of the positions that are now being converted into scheduled policy career. That has not happened yet. Once that happened, obviously there is a notice that will happen.
And there will be a process then for people who want to contest
Yeah, with
that.
respect to your question, I'm glad you brought up whistleblower because I think it's a really important point. The reason that the whistleblower rules changed is wholly within this body and with your ability to change it. So under the current congressional legislation, anybody who is in a policymaking role is actually not entitled to the OLC whistleblower protection. And that's why we created a separate whistleblower protection in the policy career. If you want to change the law, you certainly have the ability to change the law to include policymaking roles within the standard OLC.
They started getting into some jargon, so I had to pull up something. And there's a Fed support website, which I'll link this in the chat and the document. Schedule Policy Career, formerly Schedule F. So when you hear Schedule Policy Career, that's Schedule F, which, as we recall, is what Russ Vought wanted to do to be able to fire people. So let me just read to you. Actually, I'll pull this up so that you have it. You can see what I'm reading. Oops, no, you can't. Sorry. I have to make myself smaller, I guess. Damn it. Okay, well, anyway, I'll read it to you. Okay, what is Schedule Policy Career? Schedule Policy Career is a federal employment category or schedule established by the current Trump administration via a January 2025 executive order. The order directs agency leaders to identify certain federal positions for reassignment from their current employment category into a new category. In February 2026, OPM finalized a rule to regulate Schedule Policy Careers directed by the January EO. Schedule Policy Career will broadly apply to career federal employees in policy-making roles. However, the full scope of which positions might be affected, let me make this a little bigger. Which positions might be effective is unclear, as the executive order directs agency heads to recommend to the president specific roles that will fall under the Schedule Policy Career. After reviewing agency recommendations, the president will issue a new executive order that will officially move positions into the new schedule. They will have fewer employment protections, making them easier to fire. This is what Russ Vought was signed up to do. Yeah, how much do those people make sitting in the background? Yeah, good question, Jim. It's currently unclear how the schedule policy career guidelines will be implemented because the reclassification decision is at the president's discretion. The EO that created the schedule policy career directs agency leaders to identify all employees in competitive service positions or in other schedules already accepted from the competitive service of a confidential policy determining, policy making, or policy advocating character. The executive order lists certain job duties that agency heads should consider. For example, whether the position involves developing or drafting regulations or guidance. In January 2025, OPM also issued guidance on additional categories of positions that agencies should consider. It's up to the agency heads how to apply these considerations and make a recommendation. Let's see. How is Schedule Policy Career different from Schedule F? The January 2025 EO and February 2026 final rule clarify that Schedule Policy Career is directed at career federal employees in competitive and accepted service positions. The January 2025 and subsequent OPM guidance also include directives for agency heads to use when determining which roles to recommend for schedule, blah, blah. Additionally, not required to be personally political. Additionally, the executive order and final rule state that schedule policy career employees or applicants for these positions are not required to personally or politically support the president or the policies of the current admin. Wait, what? Additionally, the executive order and final rule state that schedule or applicants are not required to personally or politically support the president. The 2020 Schedule F executive order did not make this distinction. I don't understand what that means. Okay, how many federal employees? Okay, that's fine. I don't really want to talk about that. What would job protections? Okay, here we go. What job protections would schedule policy have? Individuals moved or hired into policy schedule or policy career positions will lose certain due process rights such as notice of removal and the right to appeal it if removed from a job, effectively making them at-will employees. The EO requires agencies to follow the principle of veterans' preference as far as administratively feasible, which leaves its implementation unclear. Great. Lack of clarity. What a great idea. Yeah. Well, I think it says that you don't have to be an ideologist, right? It says that you are not required to personally or politically support the president or the policies. So that seems different. Maybe. I'm sure there's a catch, but, I'm just reading what they say. According, OPM estimates that approximately 50,000 positions would be moved. Okay. They'll lose due process. Okay. Additionally, the final rule states that current employees being moved into policy career will retain the competitive status. Okay. It also removes final statutory whistleblower protections and prevents workers from appealing their reassignment into scheduled policy career to the Merit Systems Protection Board. Lastly, final rule. Well, but now what's going to happen? The final rule requires agencies to establish and enforce internal rules around prohibited personnel practices, including whistleblower protections, which will now be enforced by agency general counsel offices instead of the Office of Special Counsel. So I wonder what that does, because maybe the agency general counsel, aren't they kind of beholden to the leaders? Oh, sorry, Josh. It might be mine. It might be my problem. Isn't that basically saying you have to go to the boss's friend, the general counsel? I don't know. I'm just wondering. I don't know. I feel like whistleblower and shit needs to be completely separate from the management structure of the agency. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel about it. Okay, so that's it. All right. So anyway, I will include that, but I wanted to give you an idea of what people were saying. People are saying things about it. Yeah. It feels like it's all for show. I don't know.
LC whistleblower protection.
Appreciate it. Yield back.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes Vice Chair, Mr. Lolo, for any questions he may have.
Thank you. Actually, the HR department for sure they get paid, who don't think it's fair. They're being used as leverage in this, and we hope to get to a resolution soon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, I yield.
Thank you.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Ivy for any questions he may have within 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I say to my colleague from New York, sign the discharge petition. We'll get it out. We can do it today. And we just need
Gentlemen,
a
this
handful of
isn't,
Republicans.
this is not
We
a
just need a
discussion
handful of
upon
Republicans to
political.
get it done.
Please,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
no.
Now, with
No, let me stop right now.
let me stop the clock then.
Yeah, you can stop the clock. That's fine. We're not having it. You have questions for this gentleman here. That's what you can do. If you have, frame your questions to him, not to other members.
Hey, shut the fuck
I
up.
say to you that if there are any Republicans who would like to move these things forward with respect to TSA employees getting paid, those Republicans in the House can sign the discharge petition. There's Senate bills that can move it forward as well. And we can get it done today if they'd like to do it. So thank you, Mr. Director, for being here. I do want to say I commend you for your point about cutting contractor numbers. I think that's a good way to go. And in fact, I've heard it from NASA and other organizations that are looking to do the same thing. Bringing the talent in-house, I think, makes sense. If we're going to pay them, you can pay them less and get them to get the experience. We can use it in-house in the same way. I agree with a lot of the things you said, but I got to point out a couple of things. I mean, with respect to the accountability issue, which I take seriously, that doesn't square very well with the probationary employees. So you guys fired 25,000 probationary employees. And the key point about them being on probation is it's a time where you can hold them accountable pretty much on whatever standards you want to use. So the accountability piece could have been one way to make a decision about who got fired and who didn't. But that's not what was done. They were fired en masse without any individual review of what they'd done or how well they'd done it. One court overruled that, and one of the points they said was, you know, you've got to actually give them a letter that explains that they were not terminated for poor performance, because one of the really egregious things the administration did was say that the reason they had all been fired was for poor performance when that wasn't true. And so I appreciate the fact that you guys have directed agencies to do that and agencies have moved forward with that. But that's a real bad signal to send in a couple of ways. With respect to the stability piece that you and Mr. Hoyer were discussing, and I've got kids too in that age group. I've got 6. They run from 25 to 40 roughly.
Roughly.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of all of the numbers when you get past 5, it gets tough. Right. But you know, look, yeah, they want challenging careers, and I did it when I was coming through too. I went to the Department of Justice and actually worked as a staffer here on the Hill. One thing you can't really afford is a total lack of stability. I knew people in my district who came to me and said, you know, Mr. Ivey, I sold my house in Iowa to move here for a job that the federal government gave me. And I'd gotten started, and I was getting good feedback that I was doing a good job, but I got fired with the whole group of 25,000 that got laid off, and he couldn't find a new job right away. Obviously, it's a new city. So they sold the house. You've got people that made family decisions, like, okay, we can start having children now. Those are the kind of decisions that go directly to the stability piece. And I don't care how bad you want to advance your career, you've got to consider those things. So I hope you'll keep that in mind as you move forward with it. And I'll say this as well. The accountability or the probationary piece, I know there's DOJ attorneys. I went through the Department of Justice. I did 4 years there. And I know you're a trained lawyer as well. And Stanford Law School is certainly impressive, and your career's been outstanding. But, you know, one of the things that's important there to keep in mind is you can have accountability, because a lot of the DOJ attorneys, in fact, I think most of them aren't on the civil servant protection scale. I wasn't. But you want to work hard and do the right thing. Now, this isn't you, but the Trump administration has fired DOJ attorneys, many of them, and FBI agents as well, for obviously and explicitly political reasons, retaliatory reasons I think are illegal. But in any event, the signal that sends to people out in you know, young people looking to come into the federal government. I was in Charleston the last weekend talking to a young man. He came up to me. He was law review at Columbia Law School, now working at one of the top litigation law firms. And he heard my background when I was introduced. He said, should I go to the Department of Justice? And I said, you can't go right now because you don't know how you will be managed while you're there. And they're firing people for obviously political reasons. I like your idea about the 2-year piece, bringing young people in and rotating them through. it can be 4, it can be whatever, but I think it's a great way to go to bring in young talent, especially on the tech sector side. But if there are going to be parts of the government, and I'm not setting this on you, but if there are going to be parts of the government that are firing people at random at points when they need stability and they need fair treatment, and their record is going to reflect the fact that they got fired if that's what happens, you're going to undermine the ability to bring in the best talent. Thanks for what you're doing. Keep up the good work, and I yield back.
Mr. Chairman, can I just respond very quickly to one comment?
Absolutely.
Keep
Thank
up
you,
the
Mr.
good
Riley. I
work.
appreciate your comments. The comment I just want to make is, look, what we want to do here is accountability needs to be part of an overall system of reform, in my mind, right? A whole performance management system. So one of the reasons why you see probationary things or you see other stuff like that, we had to create, the DOGE team had to create this whole DRP program was because we have a system that just does not work to manage accountability in the government. So what I hope we can do is create a system where we can actually hold people accountable. It doesn't take 24 months of litigation for people to actually truly be removed when they are not performing their jobs. And if we had a system like that, which we are trying to, make changes to, then I think you can solve the challenges you're looking for, which is fairness and accountability without kind of people having to fear the stability question. So I appreciate your comments, and that's something that we are working on.
Mr. Director, just so you understand,
What? Okay, I feel like I am really, I am very tired, so maybe that's part of it, but I can't believe that we're having like a normal conversation with the guy who's currently running basically the HR department, and the conversation isn't purely centered, frankly, on what is happening for the people who were summarily fired, the questions that are being asked, like Ivy asked. I don't want to hear anything about what OPM is or isn't going to do until they are accountable for what's happening in the current federal government and what has happened to date. At what point does anyone have to answer for that? Because if not him, then who? And I'm sorry if he was only there in July. I don't give a shit. Because guess what? As the leader of something, you have to kind of take the heat for the whole fucking enchilada. And that's just the way it is. That's why you get paid the big money. So all these niceties and you're doing a great job and, oh, that 2 years, that sounds like great. Well, what is that, an apprentice program? What are we talking about? Because no, I think I've just lost my ability to put up with the bullshit of just, why are we having this conversation? Why aren't we talking about what matters, which is you've got entire departments and this whole like reassignment to the policy and career schedule and a true lack of whistleblower protections. Like I'm just like, again, I'm sorry. I'm a little discombobulated, but I just feel like we're welcoming the Nazis, like, oh, well, okay, the Nazis are here. I guess we might as well make the best of it. I don't know. I don't, this is not really meshing with me. And I don't think I'm going to get any satisfaction out of this. I'm going to be honest with you. Not that I was looking for it, but there is also another hearing that I hesitate to start because, frankly, I don't think I can go on with this one. I'm sorry. But it's the National Weather Service. And I think we're going to try that one, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to handle it. So we'll try this one. I don't know. Sorry. I hope this is okay. I really hate to do this to your morning and whip you around like this. I do apologize. At hit the like, I've been listening on storms. Oh, Tom, storms in the Midwest. Oh. Let's see. Let me do this. Okay. The witness is Taylor Jordan, or what? Taylor Jordan, Assistant Secretary of the National. Okay, so this is the National Weather Service. Sorry, again, I think I'm just really tired. I think I should probably just like wake up a little bit. Hold on. Okay. Oops.
National Weather Service, but recognition is not enough. It is crucial that we maintain and improve the nation's ability to forecast weather quickly and accurately and to communicate forecasts effectively. As climate change continues to impact our nation and planet, severe weather outbreaks are becoming increasingly frequent. That's why it was extremely concerning to see the Weather Service lose roughly 600 employees, including many meteorologists, in the early months of the Trump administration last year, specifically as a result of the firings and early retirements engineered by Elon Musk and his Doge team. This was confirmed after Secretary Lutnick falsely told this subcommittee last year that no meteorologists were amongst the hundreds of employees fired. Local weather forecast offices were greatly stressed and understaffed across the country. Numerous offices were forced to limit weather balloon launches due to limited staffing. These are devices that measure temperature, pressure, and relative humidity at high altitudes. At one point last year, 45% of local weather forecast offices had vacancy rates of 20% or more, the threshold for critical understaffing, while 8 offices were missing more than 35% of their staff. 16 offices were missing their warning coordination meteorologist, the person responsible for making sure emergency managers and the public know what to do when emergency and disaster strikes. Extreme weather impacts us all. It was only a few years ago that Hurricane Ida killed several of my constituents in Queens and dozens more in the region. My heart breaks when I see how deadly the floods in Texas were or the recent tornadoes in the Midwest. An adequately staffed National Weather Service is essential. It is a matter of life and death for countless communities impacted by extreme weather events. The bottom line is that a hollowed-out National Weather Service is a risk we simply cannot afford. Despite the difficulties caused by the staffing shortages, the Trump administration refused to allow for the backfilling of critical frontline National Weather Service meteorologists and other staff until last August, when the administration finally recognized the problem it had created and allowed the Weather Service to begin backfilling some vacant positions at local weather forecast offices. Further compounding these problems, the Trump administration has required that every contract decision greater than $100,000 must first go to the office of Secretary Lutnick for his approval. This has caused bottlenecks and delayed critical missions, impacting the National Weather Service. For example, a backbone information technology system used by the Weather Service came within hours of shutting down. A local weather forecast office in Kentucky utilized portable toilets in its parking lot during a major storm due to an inability to get permission to hire a plumber. And these are just 2 examples. Even under these circumstances, the men and women of the National Weather Service have continued to show dedication to their jobs and have worked hard to bring reliable weather forecasts to the American people. Assistant Secretary, in your submitted statement, you mentioned the recent efforts by NOAA and by National Weather Service Director Ken Graham to streamline the management structure of the Weather Service. And there's nothing wrong with seeking efficiencies, and there are several good things in this recent plan. At the same time, I need to emphasize that the Trump administration's purposeful massive staffing losses at the Weather Service last year, including the widespread firings of probationary employees, must never happen again. That and other bad policies, such as the unreasonable bureaucratic delays on contracts, are not good at all for the National Weather Service. They greatly risk the Weather Service's mission and risk further losses of talented meteorologists and other critical frontline personnel. Given the relationship between our changing climate and the frequency of severe weather, I also want to note the critical role that NOAA has played for decades in preserving and collecting data about the planet's changing climate. At the same time, however, the Trump administration has pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Agreement. It has removed and in some cases rewritten climate change-related information from federal agency websites. Last year, the Trump administration disbanded the author team and dismissed hundreds of scientists working on the 6th National Climate Assessment, a legally mandated report that is used to help shape environmental rules, legislation, and infrastructure projects. The administration is currently pushing to eliminate the endangerment finding, which since 2009 has underpinned the federal government's ability to fight climate change. All of this is wrong and harmful for our country. The connection between climate change and the frequency of severe weather is very real. Finally, I want to express my disappointment that the Commerce Department has not yet issued its fiscal year 2026 spend plan, which was legally due to our Appropriations Committee on March 9th. This delay is unacceptable. All that said, I look forward to the discussions of these issues at today's hearings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ming. I'm honored now to recognize the chairman of the full committee, Mr. Cole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you and Ranking Member Ming for having me today. Welcome, Assistant Secretary Jordan, and thank you for being here today to discuss the importance of the National Weather Service. It's not an overstatement to say that the work of the National Weather Service impacts the daily lives of all Americans. Because of this, the office must be well.
I'm sorry, I have to stop this right now, just for a story that I want to read to you. I'm sorry. We're going to take a little bit of a pivot. Because this is a story I wanted to read, but there's also like a real story about it.
We start tonight with a video going.
Hold on, this is what I want us to watch. Trigger warning, this is going to be upsetting, but there's also a story that I want to read in relation to it. Because actually I think the Weather Service one, I'm very interested in hearing the Weather Service hearing. But this story about a woman arrested at San Francisco airport yesterday, because we've got ICE agents at airports, I think is a story we need to hear. And I wasn't going to watch the video, but I feel like it's not. I think I need to watch the video. I think we need to watch the video.
Viral. Tonight, Congresswoman Doris Matsui's office tells ABC 10 a Sacramento mother is the woman in this video being detained by federal agents at the San Francisco International Airport. Her daughter is also seen in the video. ABC 10's Garshpal Sangha joins us in studio now with what we are learning tonight. Garshpal.
Yeah, Chris and Laura, questions are mounting after a controversial immigration incident at SFO. Local leaders are speaking out while federal officials are defending their actions.
What's your name? Can show the badge. Where's a badge?
Cell phone video capturing a chaotic scene at San Francisco International Airport. A woman crying as officers restrain her on the ground, her child nearby.
This is an illegal arrest. Show the badge number.
The video taken Sunday night inside the international terminal. Congresswoman Doris Matsui says the woman is a Sacramento mother, saying in part, quote, "This video showcases the cruelty we have come to expect from Trump's ICE agents." But the Department of Homeland Security says this was lawful. Posting on social media, two women, Angelina Lopez Jimenez and Wendy Godinez Lopez, were taken into custody and taken to Guatemala, saying both had final removal orders dating back to 2019 and that one of them tried to flee and resisted officers. State Senator Scott Wiener says he's skeptical of that explanation.
I always take anything that this administration says with a huge grain of salt. My understanding is that they brought her to the airport to put her and her child on a plane for deportation.
It's concerning. Immigration attorney Julian Sanchez Mora is not connected to this case and says even if a removal order exists, there are still major questions.
This is what we are seeing over and over again when it comes to ICE officers. Individuals in plain clothing, failing to identify themselves.
And about that reported 2019 removal order,
whether this individual was even aware of that removal order. It's not uncommon to see individuals who have removal orders, what is known as in absentia, or in their absence. They never received any type of notice. I'm wondering whether that could have been the case here. And if that's the case, there could be potentially a way to try to reopen that case.
And the San Francisco mayor is calling this an isolated incident. Congresswoman Matsui says in a statement she's demanding answers as to why ICE treated the woman so violently in front of her daughter. Chris and Laura.
All right, Garshpal, keep us posted as you learn more. Thank you.
Anyway, and also, yeah, so let me show you this. Let me read this. Because this was in the New York Times this morning. Oops, let me move this over here so I can see it. TSA tipped off ICE agents before arrests at San Francisco airport. Transportation Security Administration officials told ICE that a mother and daughter under a detention order had planned to fly domestically, federal documents show. The woman and her 9-year-old daughter were walking through Terminal 3 at San Francisco International Airport on Sunday night, heading to their gate to fly to Miami to visit a relative when a stranger in plain clothes approached. "Angelina?" he asked. "Sí," she responded. Minutes later, Angelina Lopez Jimenez was on her knees crying as 2 immigration agents were handcuffing her in front of her daughter, according to video footage that went viral. Government documents obtained by the New York Times explain the events leading up to the tense scene, including the exchange between the agent and Ms. Lopez Jimenez. The documents shed new light on how the Transportation Security Administration is sharing with ICE officials the names and birth dates of travelers believed to have been ordered out of the country by a judge. That has made it easier for the dump administration to detain and deport undocumented immigrants as they pass through airports. Ms. Lopez Jimenez, 41, a native of Guatemala, and her daughter, Wendy Godinez Lopez, were flagged by TSA officials on Friday when they showed up on a passenger list for a Sunday flight from San Francisco to Miami. The agency then tipped off Immigration and Customs Enforcement, according to the documents. Ms. Lopez Jimenez and her daughter were living in Contra Costa County on the eastern edge of San Francisco, according to the congressman for that region, John Garamendi. She had no criminal history, though she did enter the country illegally. Democratic officials recoiled this week at the detention. Mr. Garamendi, a Democrat, said it was the latest example of how the dump administration was rounding up mothers and children instead of focusing on its immigration enforcement on dangerous criminals. He also condemned the sharing of passenger information by TSA with ICE, saying that data sharing seems to be omnipresent under the dump administration, putting personal information at risk. The real story here is the way in which databases are being used, he said in an interview. A mother and her daughter are detained, and within 36 hours, they're sent to Guatemala. Ms. Lopez Jimenez came onto the U.S. government's radar during Mr. Dump's first term on April 27th when Border Patrol in 2018, when Border Patrol agents spotted her and her daughter, then a toddler, 14 miles from the point of entry at San Luis, Arizona, according to the federal documents. The agents determined that she and her daughter were born in Guatemala and were in the United States illegally. They took her to a facility to photograph her and obtain her fingerprints and biographical information. She was given notice to appear in court for removal proceedings and was released. She showed up for some appointments, but not others, according to the documents. On May 8, 2019, an immigration judge ordered her to be deported at a hearing she missed. Nothing further happened in her case until Sunday night. At 9:30 p.m., the 2 ICE agents, knowing that she had planned to fly to Miami, found her in the terminal concourse. Ms. Lopez Jimenez was carrying 2 Guatemalan passports and handed them over at an agent's request. The information matched the identity of the woman who was ordered to be deported in 2019. The agents told Ms. Lopez to follow them to the international terminal. At that point, Ms. Lopez Jimenez tried to run away, the document said, and the agents got a hold of her and sat her down. The agents tried to handcuff her, but she wriggled and cried, and they could cuff only one wrist. A growing crowd watched, some of them recording the scene on their phones and yelling shame at you at the agents. San Francisco police officers responded to a 911 call from a bystander and formed a boundary between the crowd and the agents. The agents placed Ms. Lopez Jimenez, who was refusing to walk, into a wheelchair and wheeled her away. The encounter was not part of the Trump administration's effort to use ICE to staff support airport security lines while TSA agents are going unpaid because of the government shutdown. The Department of Homeland Security said Monday on social media that Lopez Jimenez and her daughter were illegal aliens who had final deportation orders and had resisted arrest. It's not clear if she knew that she and her daughter were under a deportation order. I just don't understand why we need to do that. I don't understand why this is so important that you have to rip people apart. She was going to Miami to visit some family. I don't understand that. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't get it. She's already been living here. She's already been living in this place. Like, she is part of this country. She is an American. She's here. This is so dumb. This is so dumb.
Resourced and singularly focused on ensuring its forecast and extreme weather warnings are accurate and available to our constituents when they need them most. Oklahoma has already set a new seasonal record for most tornadoes just 3 months into the new year, with 20 recorded just in the month of March alone. It's not if, but when for these communities every year during storm season. That's why I'm proud to working with Chairman Rogers and Ranking Member Ming to have secured targeted funding increases for FY26 for the National Weather Service to better enable weather forecast offices throughout the country to jump into action when severe storm strikes. The vital work of the local weather forecast offices should not be would not be possible without the critical research and infrastructure that underpin the forecaster's understanding and capacity to respond to extreme weather events. From the world-class research happening at NOAA's Cooperative Institute for Severe and High-Impact Weather Research and Operations at the University of Oklahoma, to the National Severe Storm Laboratory and the Storm Prediction Center, the National Weather Center in Norman, Oklahoma is a crown jewel in our nation's weather enterprise. The expertise that exists in Norman is unparalleled. I look forward to hearing what more can be done to leverage and support this resource utilizing the advancements local partners have made in enhanced forecasting capabilities. The National Weather Service's ability to do so will improve the lead time and accuracy of severe weather forecasts and warnings, ultimately saving lives and reducing damage to families, homes, towns, and cities. I look forward to working with my colleagues to continue to provide.
Just shut up. Turn your microphone on, dick.
Will the gentleman...
Put your fucking microphone on.
I would try to fix the microphone.
Well, okay.
On behalf of the agency and Administrator Jacobs, I offer our most sincere thanks for the subcommittee's longstanding support for our agency and its programs. In particular, I offer appreciation for the recently passed FY26 appropriations. This funding enables NOAA to support the advancement of our life-saving public safety mission, support the economy, and the national security of the country. My focus today is the National Weather Service, where the Trump administration is working to streamline functions and leverage technology to provide the best possible information to the public and decision makers. Today, I will highlight a few of the agency's accomplishments and continued efforts to keep Americans out of harm's way. First, the Weather Service is modernizing our weather alert systems, including NOAA Weather Radio, avoiding approximately $12 million per year in maintenance cost increases. We have also expanded our flood inundation mapping technology across the United States, saving countless lives during severe weather events. We have also embraced artificial intelligence. We recently announced the launch of a new suite of operational AI-driven global weather prediction models. These new models are faster, more efficient, and use a fraction of the computational resources compared to legacy models.
But are they accurate? Oh, yeah, I can. Sorry about that. Oh, wait, maybe I can't. Oh, actually, I can. Are they accurate? Are they accurate, Taylor? Another dipshit named Taylor. Are they accurate, Taylor? I might have fixed it. Hold on.
NOAA is the first organization in the world to launch this hybrid grand ensemble model. In 2026, we are continuing to make meaningful progress towards leading the world in numerical weather prediction. We were excited to announce that we are moving the Advanced Weather Interactive Processing System, known as AWIPS, to the cloud, a critical tool for our weather forecasters. These investments will give forecasters efficient, secure, and remote access to provide support wherever and whenever severe weather threatens. A new, nimble, flexible, mobile weather service needs its operations to match. We are also updating the core physics in our next generation modeling architecture, a new dynamical core to NOAA's weather model, supported by the broader weather enterprise, provides the path towards substantial weather forecast improvement. Into this model, we will continue to feed data from the many observing networks and systems we operate. We are also leveraging new partnerships through our commercial data program, which includes the National Mesonet program and the Aircraft-Based Observation program. We will also design and deploy the next generation of weather surveillance radar technology, our Radar Next program. This next generation of radars will ensure continuity of operations, expand coverage, and improve performance. It will enable forecasters to improve lead times and accuracy of warnings for high-impact weather events. This work will improve our data and enable high-resolution modeling across the globe, both of which are critical to our efforts to advance U.S. numerical weather prediction. With these new technologies in the infrastructure, NOAA is poised to transform into the weather service of the future. Nimble, to quickly shift operations to support its partners how and when they need it. Flexible, to provide data and services how and where users need them. And mobile, to enable forecasters to access data and products from anywhere and co-locate with emergency officials. Working side by side with emergency managers and providing support every day will lead to quicker and more accurate decisions when severe weather threatens. The Weather Service is also taking steps to implement a reorganization in order to better support the needs of our nation. This work incorporates long-standing recommendations from the Government Accountability Office, the National Academies, Congress, internal reviews, and feedback from the workforce.
Good news is we've just hired a bunch of storm chasers, and that's our new weather service. Congratulations, everybody. Choose your favorite. Choose your favorite storm chaser, because they are now in the National Weather Service. It's great.
For modernization, improved service delivery, and more efficient operations. The reorganization will streamline operations, reduce bureaucracy, and enhance efficiency. Our goal is to speed up decision-making and execution while strengthening our collaboration with the robust weather and water enterprise. Thank you again for your continued support and partnership as we work to improve
How do data centers do in tornadoes?
Through accurate and timely weather forecasting. The National Weather Service will continue to serve the public with critical watches and warnings.
How do
and quickly
SMRs
adapt
do
to ensure that we are at our best when impactful weather threatens the nation? Thank you.
There aren't going to be any regulations on any protections against floods or tornadoes. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to cross our fingers and, hope for the best. I'm not laughing, really.
Thank you, Secretary Jordan. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule for questions. I'll begin by
What the fuck is this fucking skin bag fossil? Who the fuck let this fucking grandpa run this committee? What the fucking hell? Okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna listen to this. I'm sorry. We're gonna read because I gotta read. I can't do this. I've got articles that I've been wanting to read to you. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not gonna do this today. We're gonna read. We're just gonna read some stuff because mommy is not happy. So we're going to read. Let me make myself a little smaller. There we go. Be a little tinier. Oh my God. After Fukushima, we installed additional protection at big radioactive power facilities. Will SMRs be required to do the same? Well, Tom, probably not. Yeah, exactly. Send up Dorothy from Twister. Oh my God, I love that movie. We should watch Twister. We should watch Twister. Anyway, I can't. There's a lot. Yeah. Oh, we all float down here, Georgie. Oh, yeah. Twister 1. Yeah, not the new one. The new one's dumb. No, we have to watch the original. Sorry. I'm a Helen Hunt. You got to have Helen Hunt in it, or else I'm not watching it. Slaughterhouse 5. Oh, actually, that's good. Sink or swim, Billy. Twister. Yeah, we should watch Twister. Yeah, let's do that. We'll check with GP to make sure he can get it. He should be able to get it, though. Yeah, the original wasn't dumb at all. Okay, oomph? Oh, my God. Yeah, you're right. That's very true. The original wasn't dumb at all. It's a classic. I crush on Helen. Don't judge me. I mean, who couldn't? I mean, she was like America's sweetheart, right? For a minute there. Wasn't she? Where is she now? Let me get rid of the weather service. Well, maybe I won't get rid of the weather service. Oh, dear, one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. And Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Many women I know don't like her. Oh, really? I like her. And Bill Paxton, R.I.P. I love Bill Paxton. Did he die? Wait, maybe the other guy died. I don't know. I always get him mixed up with that. And Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yes, exactly. He was good. Yeah, he was good in that. No, come on. That's a classic. I love Twister. I love the steak and eggs scene with the aunt. You know? Oh, man. Come on. We got to watch that. I love that. I fucking love that movie. I could watch that anytime. All right. Unfortunately, I would like to read to you this article. This is they've been talking about this for a minute. It was something that came out last year, but we've been trying to track kind of what's happening on maternal mortality in the United States after the abortion ban. This is a report from the Gender Equity Policy Institute that was issued last year. But I kind of wanted to check in and see what data was out there around maternal mortality, and this is what I was able to find. So I'm kind of hoping that there's more studies being done. And I'll link the entire report, but I wanted to read this little piece, this key findings about it. And this is post-Roe, post-abortion ban type of reporting, okay? Mothers living in states that banned abortion nearly 2 times as likely to die during pregnancy, childbirth, or soon after giving birth compared to mothers living in supportive states where abortion was legal and accessible. Maternal mortality fell 21% in supportive states post-Dobbs. Maternal mortality rose 56% in Texas in the first full year of the state's abortion ban, up 95% among white women. Black mothers living in banned states were 3.3 times as likely to die as white mothers in those states. Women's risk of maternal death in Texas was 155% higher than in California. Latina mothers in Texas faced nearly triple the risk of maternal mortality as those in California. As of January 1st, 2025, roughly 62.7 million women and girls lived under state abortion bans. Even before abortion was outlawed, the states that subsequently banned abortion had worse outcomes on key indicators of reproductive health, as reported in the State of Reproductive Health in the United States in January 2023. Maternal mortality in the United States after abortion bans, the fourth publication in the Gender Equity Policy Institute series on reproductive health in the United States, represents GFPI's analysis of 2019 to 2023 Centers for Disease Control and Prevention data on maternal mortality to compare maternal health outcomes in banned states, the supportive states, and the U.S. overall. The year 2023 is the most recent one for which annual data is publicly available from the CDC. 13 states enforced bans for the entirety of this year. Women who lived in states that ban abortion were significantly more likely to die during pregnancy, while giving birth, or soon after, compared to those who lived in states where abortion care was legal and accessible. A mother's risk of dying was nearly twice as high in the banned states. In some states, the risk was even higher. Mothers in Louisiana, for example, were 3 times as likely as mothers in supportive states to die during pregnancy, etc. In the 24 states where abortion is legal and accessible, supportive states, mothers are more likely to survive pregnancy. Likewise, the trends on maternal mortality are moving in an encouraging direction. Maternal mortality went down 21% in these states post-Dobbs. A decline of 16% took place in the U.S. overall. This fall in maternal mortality outside the banned states is a positive development, especially given that the U.S. has one of the highest maternal mortality rates among wealthy, advanced democracies. Texas was the only state to outlaw abortion and enforce a ban before the 2022 Dobbs decision. In September 2021, Texas Bill Senate 8, banning abortion at approximately 6 weeks, went into effect after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected a request for a stay. Through SB 8, abortion was effectively outlawed in Texas approximately 9 months before any state moved after Dobbs to enforce a ban. In the first full year of Texas state abortion ban in 2022, maternal mortality increased significantly. The maternal mortality rate in Texas rose 56%. Among white mothers, it was up 95%. Over the same time period, maternal mortality overall increased just 11% in the United States. I'm going to go ahead and list. I'll put this entire thing plus the study I'll put in the description of the video. I'll just jump ahead to this because I've got a ton of things I'd like to read to you as well. The right to control if and when to have children is foundational to women's freedom. It is globally recognized as a fundamental human right. That's right. Nearly 63 million women and girls in the United States have lost that right now that 16 states have banned abortion. The number of women in America who die in pregnancy, childbirth, and soon after giving birth is tragically high. This is true throughout the country. Nevertheless, as this report has documented, women in states that banned abortion are at significantly higher risk of maternal death, and long-standing racial disparities in maternal mortality are significantly worse in banned states. So then I'll link this because it has the methodology and the different information. But I just wanted to point out that there is still a crisis of health care for women and birthing people who need access to abortion health care, because abortion is health care. It's not murder. Don't be stupid and listen to the science, because apparently you're not listening to the science. Okay, now let's move over to corruption a little bit. I love corruption. Here we go. Let's see. Sundown towns can't drive if you're trans. Yep. Abortion is murder. Fuck these fascists. Yeah, exactly. It's just everywhere. Georgia just charged a woman for murder. Yeah. Yeah, I can't. Bill, oh yeah, he did die of cancer. That's right, Bill Paxton. Yeah. I always get him mixed up with the other guy who was in a movie with Sandra Bullock. What was that movie called? While You Were Sleeping. I always mix him up with that guy. I feel like they look alike. I don't know. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see. Tulsi Gabbard. No, there was one I really wanted to do that was not. Sorry. Let me see which one. I have so many things I want. I wanted to read about these brothers, the Alexander brothers. Where are they? Oh, I put them in an Epstein thing. I put them in the Epstein thing. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted from the fascists at Town and Country magazine. So I wanted to also tell you the story of the Alexander brothers because they just were found guilty of sex trafficking. And I am kind of hoping that the Alexander brothers can go ahead and speak out about other people who participate in their sex trafficking. Let me check in with chat. We'll be interested to see how it plays out in court. Yeah, well, I mean, I hope to God that she's okay. Apparently the baby lived for 2 hours. I don't understand that. I guess I'm going to have to look at that. It's a case in Georgia. Hold on. Georgia, is it? Because I thought there was another state that was looking at. Oh, here we go. A woman who took a medication to induce an abortion, then delivered the baby, was arrested on a murder charge, but on Monday the state expressed deep skepticism. Well, okay, I have the story. Hold on. I have the story of that Georgia case. Let's talk about that. All right. A murder charge in Georgia exposes the complexities of the abortion debate. There's complexities about it? Okay. I don't think there's complexities about it. I think there's a lack of access to health care. A woman who took medication to induce an abortion, then delivered the baby, was arrested on a murder charge, but on Monday, a state judge expressed deep skepticism about the case. A 31-year-old pregnant woman was rushed to a Georgia hospital on December 30th. This is from March 23rd, 2026, complaining of severe abdominal pain. Law enforcement officials said she told doctors and nurses she had taken a medication she bought online to induce an abortion. She then went into labor, delivering a girl apparently in the second trimester of development. The newborn was declared dead within about an hour. The second trimester? At what point in the second trimester? 2 months later, the police arrested the woman, Alexia Moore, on a murder charge. In the warrant, investigators said she had unlawfully and with malice aforethought caused the death of baby girl Moore. But in court on Monday, a state judge expressed deep skepticism about the charge and set Miss Moore's bail at just $1, clearing the way for her release after being jailed for roughly 2 weeks. I think that charge is extremely problematic, Judge Stephen Blackerby of State Superior Court said during the hearing. That is going to be a hard charge to convict upon. The case has highlighted the complications of the fractured reproductive health landscape that has emerged in the nearly 4 years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Fucking fucks. I guess I'm having an angry day today. In Georgia, as in other states with some of the most severe restrictions on abortions, lawmakers have long avoided criminally punishing women who seek to terminate pregnancies, instead focusing on prosecuting providers and others who help facilitate access to the medication or procedures. Still, Miss Moore's case reflects one of the rare circumstances in recent years in which those seeking abortions have ended up exposed to prosecution. In the hospital, according to court documents, Ms. Moore expressed her frustration with how difficult it was to obtain an abortion in Georgia. The state bans abortion after cardiac activity is detected, which is typically about 6 weeks into a pregnancy, often before women are aware they're pregnant. Yep, can confirm. So instead, she bought medication online. She told investigators, according to the documents, that she did not know how long she had been pregnant. Hello? But believed it had been less than 14 weeks, which is actually easy to do, by the way, okay? Sounds like it's real easy to do. After she gave birth, doctors determined that she had been about 22 to 24 weeks into her pregnancy. Again, not shocking at all. In states where abortion is legal, abortion pills can typically be taken through the first 12 weeks of pregnancy. For pregnancies that are further along, terminations are done with a surgical procedure. The vast majority of abortions occur within the first 13 weeks or first trimester of pregnancy. How prosecutors will proceed remains unclear. Ms. Moore has not yet been indicted on the murder charge. In the hearing on Monday, Keith Higgins, the district attorney overseeing the case, said that his office didn't advise the police on arresting Ms. Moore on the murder charge and that he was not steeped enough in the full details of the case to discuss it more extensively. Mr. Higgins did not oppose the low bail amount, telling the judge whatever bond the defendant can make that will allow her to get out of jail is appropriate. In brief interviews on Monday, Ms. Moore's relatives acknowledged the uncertainty that has gripped her family since the arrest. "I'm just praying," Teresa So, her grandmother, said. Still, they said they are relieved that she would be able to leave jail. Ms. Moore's total bond was $2,001, including for 2 other lesser charges that she faces related to drug possession. In a statement after the hearing, the Georgia Public Defender Council, whose lawyers represent Ms. Moore, said the outcome was a success. "Today's decision is a reminder that justice is not served by accusation alone," the statement said. "Our system works best when courts carefully weigh the facts, uphold constitutional protections, and safeguard the rights of every person who comes before them." Ms. Moore was arrested in early March in Kingsland, Georgia, a small city on southern Georgia coast. According to court records, she told doctors and nurses that she had taken about 8 pills of misoprostol, a typical dose of a drug that induces contractions. She also took oxycodone for the pain, the record said, which it is very painful. The charges against Ms. Moore did not specifically cite abortion as Georgia's abortion ban, although the affidavit supporting the warrant did include language that echoed aspects of the ban, including saying that the baby was well beyond 6 weeks of conception. But the affidavit said that she was charged with murder because the victim became a person at the moment of live birth. In most states, murder charges can be filed for the intentional killing of a newborn baby, but legal experts said the circumstances in Georgia did not appear to fit that description. Ms. Moore is accused of taking actions that were intended to terminate a pregnancy and happened before the child was born, said Mary Ziegler, a law professor and abortion expert at the University of California, Davis. Go Aggies. "It would be a really big deal to prosecute a woman for murder for abortion, which is what this amounts to," Professor Ziegler said. Misoprostol is a widely available drug that can be used for several conditions, including stomach ulcers and to help induce labor. In the typical medication abortion regimen, patients first take another drug, mifepristone, and then take misoprostol 24 to 48 hours to induce contractions to expel the fetal tissue. Misoprostol can be used on its own to terminate pregnancy, although that approach is considered somewhat less effective and more likely to cause side effects like nausea. Mifepristone has been the focus of recent lawsuits filed by states with abortion bans, seeking to force the FDA to sharply restrict access to that pill. Misoprostol has not typically been highlighted in those lawsuits, partly because it has a range of other medical uses. There have been cases in other states in which women who seek abortions have faced charges. Last November, a South Carolina woman was charged with attempted murder and unlawful neglect of a child. The police said she took a drug to induce contractions when she was 27 weeks pregnant. After the baby was born, the authorities said she left it in the toilet while a family member called 911, and emergency responders took the infant, who was in critical condition, to the hospital. The case is ongoing. In January, prosecutors in Kentucky announced that they had charged a woman with fetal homicide, saying that she took abortion pills and buried the remains of what police described as a developed male infant in her backyard. Prosecutors later dropped the fetal homicide charge, saying that Kentucky's law prohibited filing that charge against women seeking abortions. The woman continues to face charges of concealing the birth of an infant abuse of a corpse, and tampering with physical evidence. The arrest records in the Georgia case said that the bottle of misoprostol that the police examined did not list a prescription number or a doctor's name. That appeared to be the reason Ms. Moore was also charged with misdemeanor drug possession. But an assistant public defender, Kelly Turner, said on Monday that the misoprostol was prescribed by a licensed physician and dispensed by an online licensed pharmacy. Ms. Moore also faces a felony drug possession for also having oxycodone, which the arrest record said she also obtained without a prescription. Well, you know what? When you are when you don't have access to those things, you get what you can to curb the pain. I'm sorry. Is it a baby? No, it's a fetus. And here's the thing. First of all, I think it sounds to me like an incredibly unfortunate situation where this woman was not able to get access to prenatal health care, to health care to address her need to terminate the pregnancy, to be diagnosed properly that she was indeed pregnant and at what point she was pregnant, which again, it is very hard to know when you're pregnant. In fact, you really don't know until the doctor tells you you're pregnant, okay? And you may not think you're pregnant. So, in this case, I think the woman did the best that she could to try and terminate the pregnancy that she had to terminate for whatever reason. Guess what? None of our fucking business. Unless you are going to fucking raise the child, you have nothing to say. In fact, you still don't have anything to say. Unless you're going to push that child out of your vagina and your uterus, then you have zero to say about it, frankly. I don't give a shit. My body, my choice. So, I feel that she needs our support and she needs medical care. And women in Georgia clearly don't have access to medical care. That's the headline. That's the headline. I mean, social programs to help young mothers. Yeah, I don't know. Give them money. You know what? You know what I needed when I was a young mother and I was single mom from the jump? What I needed money. I need money. I needed health care. I needed money. That's right. They knew this would happen. So you know what? Everybody's lucky this young woman is alive. That's what we're lucky. We're lucky she's alive. Gross. Fucking gross. All right, what was I reading? I can't even remember now. Oh, the Alexander brothers. Well, in some good news. Yeah. Yeah, so did we. We knew it too. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to thank you for that story, Stephanie. Thanks for bringing that up. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't know I was pregnant with my daughter until I was 12 weeks. You just don't. You don't. You don't. You just don't. You don't. People need access to health care. Period. Full stop. I don't understand this. Why moral judgments have anything to do with healthcare is beyond me. And no, all you chuds who think that abortion is murder, you're just wrong and stupid. And I don't even have time to explain to you how wrong and stupid you are. But suffice to say, you're stupid. Nobody gives a shit. Your mom should have aborted you. That's what we're all sad about. Oh my God. I am so done. Yeah, SCOTUS knew exactly what was going to happen. Boy, this is a hard morning. Can I just say, this is a hard morning. Gatekeeping healthcare. It is. It's totally evil is what it is. Oh, God, stop trying to make decisions for other people. God. Real estate titans, the Alexander brothers. Yeah, and half the appeals litigants. Real estate titans, the Alexander brothers, are found guilty of sex trafficking. Not long ago, Tal and Orrin Alexander sat at the billionaire-laden pinnacle of the luxury real estate world. Oopsie. They, along with their brother Alon, lived a life of glamour and success. Then came the avalanche of accusations. I've been trying to read this to you since March 9th. My dog knew. Yeah, my fucking dog knew. Yeah, hey, how's everybody doing? How's everyone doing tonight? Yeah. The building at 281 Park Avenue South, with its granite base and mansard roof, reeked of old money. Turreted corners, arched windows, limestone that looked as if it had just surfaced from the bottom of the ocean. Lovely. If you were launching a new firm and wanted to convey permanent stability in the sort of institutional gravitas that spanned centuries, not a couple of months, the building would do a lot of the heavy lifting, which is why it made perfect sense for the founders of Official to hold their first event there in October 2022. Here we go. Karen. Hi, Karen Diggs. About 20 years ago, I was pregnant. I didn't know until after 8 weeks because I had some spotting in between. Then I blamed the guy from 2 weeks before by mistake instead of the 7 weeks before guy. Karen, I love you. I love you. Oh, Josh, I want to I want to lay in the sun with the puppy. Oh, that sounds great. Official was not like any other real estate brokerages of the era, defined by reality TV stars who might jump up in a swimming pool to celebrate a closing. They were discreet, exclusive. They like to say that they built a moat around the firm. Only agents who had done $1 billion in sales could apply to work there. The firm would operate like a private office, part agent, part portfolio manager, part lifestyle concierge, serving the top fraction of the top 1%, people whose wealth was so vast that they were constantly involved in real estate transactions. This was meant to be a business built to last, one that transcended the typical churn of the brokerage world. Let's see, here we go. So here's the brothers and they're gonna be in trouble. This is the indictment. The firm had 5 founders, all heavyweights in ultra-luxury real estate, but the rainmakers and the de facto faces of the brand were the Alexander brothers, Tal and Orrin, just 11 months apart in age. Oh, Irish cousins. The brothers look the part, or Irish twins, I should say. The brothers look the part, Tom Ford, Amani, bodies honed by yoga and personal trainers. But their meteoric rise had not been built on discretion, quite the opposite. They had aggressively courted the press to build their brand and used Instagram to show that they were more than what Orrin dismissively referred to as real estate peddlers. Instead, they lived the lives of their clients, Formula One races in Monaco, the opening ceremonies of the World Cup in Doha, parties in Ibiza. They were selling to their friends, now in their mid-30s, having set records for residential real estate closings in New York and London and Miami. They had entered what their peers at Official saw as a more mature phase. They didn't need the press. In fact, Orrin said he tried to avoid it. His clients preferred it that way. If Official were to fulfill its promise, it would have to function like a white shoe law firm, not a cutthroat real estate brokerage that operated like an old boys club or worse, a frat, meaning the Alexanders would have to clean up their act. The other founders didn't want the brothers to lose their edge, but they would have to become more collaborative. They had a reputation for being assholes, a former colleague said. Whiteman, who filed a suit against them, was found dead in Australia. Sounds familiar. Oh my God, Teresa. Well, yeah, I figured this. I hadn't really paid attention to this Alexander story, but I'm coping a tad bit better with a little help from my pup and a friend called Indica. Oh, God bless, Stephanie. We love you. We're all in this together. Well, now they're assholes in jumpsuits. They also had a reputation for womanizing that had long followed Tal and Orrin, as well as Orrin's twin, Alon, who ran the New York branch of the family's security firm. Oh, they have a security firm. That's what, I mean, I think you really know. Yeah, do they know the Tate brothers? Oh, fuck yeah, they do. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah. All right, let's see. Who ran the Neri brothers? It was like the worst kept awful secret that those brothers together, like you do not let female agents, female clients, your mom, sister, or daughter anywhere near them. said a rival agent. You just keep your eyes on your own problems, your own work, and you just move forward, and you hope you never have to interact with them. Womanizing is a weird word. It's a very patriarchal word, I think. But whatevs. I guess it gets the point across. I don't know. But no one foresaw what came next. In March 2024, 2 women separately sued Oren and Alon for sexual assault, setting off a deluge of accusations that was followed by an FBI investigation, which culminated in the arrest of all 3 brothers on December 11th, 2024. And does it? Well, I mean, no, I don't know. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, you got me. You're right. You got me. I'm wrong. This January in Manhattan, the Alexanders went on trial for 12 felony counts related to federal sex trafficking. I mean, the men define that word, so you tell me. Okay? Why don't men define? Men are the one who made it, so you tell me what it means. The government later dropped 2 of the charges after those victims went quiet due to what prosecutors characterize as witness intimidation. The defense attorneys say the alleged intimidation came from private investigators who have been fired by the defense team. Who have been fired by the defense team and was not sanctioned. The brothers pled not guilty, but in March they were convicted of all 10 counts. They, quote, they have never sex trafficked anyone, never drugged anyone, never engaged in non-consensual sexual conduct, said Judah Engelmeyer, a public relations strategist known for representing Harvey Weinstein, who has been hired by the Alexanders and spoke to Town and Country just before the verdict came down. They are innocent. Now that the federal trial is over, what's the opposite version of womanizing? Manizing? I don't know. Yeah, of course they want Trump pardons. Of course they want Trump pardons. Let's see. Alon, now that the federal trial is over, Alon and Oren still face state sexual battery charges in Miami, including one charge that stems from an alleged incident at Alon's Miami Beach condo on New Year's Eve 2016. They have pled not guilty to those 2. It may take years for all the cases to be resolved, but already the scandal has prompted a quiet reckoning within the world of luxury real estate. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is Town and Country, so I guess my expectations should be a little bit lower for the reporting. How the Alexander brothers reached this uppermost tier of their industry, bringing in billions of dollars. Yeah, galvanized, vulcanized. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. But a story of ambition, hard work, and a knack for being in the right room at the right time. Wow, Town and Country, you're really trying to help. But if the allegations in these civil and criminal cases against them are true, something that the brothers vigorously dispute, their rise was shadowed by a darkness that remained hidden not in spite of their success, but perhaps because of it. Oh, you mean people ignored the bad deeds of rich dudes? Are you kidding me? The origin story of the Alexanders, the one they like to tell, was about hustle. It elided their privileged upbringing in Miami and the fact that their father helped make some of their biggest deals, but it did have the benefit of being true. We were never given anything, Oren said in a 2022 episode of the YouTube series From the Founder. Their father, an Israeli immigrant, gave them a taste of the good life, but taught them they'd have to earn it for themselves. He ran a security firm that provided guards for gated communities and parties at the Versace mansion. But at the time the boys were teenagers, it was one of the largest security contractors in South Florida. So Shabbat dinner, Oren said, was more like a board meeting. We talked to business all the time, he said. They grew up in Bal Harbor, a ritzy village at the north end of Miami Beach, in a Mediterranean-style mansion that sits on the water. They had a pool in the backyard and were part of a clique of rich, popular boys who went to Michael M. Kropp, a large public high school. They often hung out with kids from the local private schools, Miami Country Day, Ransom Everglades, and held rowdy parties at their 6,000-foot square home while their parents slept at the other end of the house. After high school, Tal went to Hofstra University to play tennis. A year later, in 2005, Oren left for the University of Colorado and Alon the University of Maryland. By 2008, they were all in New York. Alon, after graduating from the NYU School of Law, would eventually go into the family security business. Tal and Oren gravitated toward real estate. At 21, Oren caught his first big break when he sold an $8.2 million penthouse at the Park Imperial to an attorney he had met skiing in Aspen. It became sort of a model for the brothers to follow. Figure out where the money is, get an invite, get a table, get on the same ski lift, and whenever necessary, get on a plane. It wasn't just going to the event, Oren would later recall, and from the founder. It was like, what do these people look like? Where are they in the room? It was like Wedding Crashers. Tal, that developer by the bar, go. By 2015, Oren and Tal were rooming together in a 4,200 square foot condo in the new museum building. John Bon Jovi had sold his penthouse atop the building for $37.5 million the year before. It shows that we live like our clients, which is very important to our business. Oren told Business Insider in 2015, they trust us because we not only do it for work, we also engage it in our we also engage in it in our lifestyle, and that's always been our competitive advantage. They boned up on fine art and went to Art Basel in Switzerland and Biennale in Venice and Frieze in London. They took clients to lunch at Sadelle's, Lure Fish Bar, and Harry Cipriani, where Oren bragged he could get the #1 table anytime I want. Well, can you get it now from the prison? Yeah, guards for the Versace mansion. That didn't go too well. If you know, you know. You can see everyone who walks in and walks out. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, yep, you're sitting at Cipriani. They aggressively befriended brokers of yachts. Okay, yada, yada. Oren had a vapid nature to his friends. Oh, okay, and the both brothers came across as not that bright, but it didn't matter. And that's pretty much it. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It's all about your connections. All right, so all business all the time. This is great. They're extolling their business acumen. Inspired by the Wolf of Wall Street and the idea of chop shops and dialing for dollars, in 2019, they paid someone who promised he could get them the phone number of anyone in Manhattan. The brothers had realized there was a correlation between art collectors and the clientele they coveted, so they went into art. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Reality TV, okay. Oh my God, this is just like extolling how wonderful they are business-wise. And I really don't give a flying motherfuck. So basically, they were way too rich. The brothers took a call in Saint-Tropez from a Bloomberg reporter to announce the launch of the firm. They were in the south of France. Tal told the reporter on yachts, drumming up more business for Official, which is the name of their company. The first two lawsuits against Elon and Oren were filed in New York on March 8, 2024 by Rebecca Mandel and Kate Whiteman. Mandel alleged that she met the twins in 2009 at SL, a since-shuttered nightclub in the Meatpacking District. She was 18 at the time. According to the complaint, she continued to run into Oren and Elon at nightclubs around Manhattan until one night at SL around September 2010, when she claimed Elon spiked her drink, resulting in significant impairment to her physical well-being. Mandel alleged that the brothers convinced her to leave the club and go to their apartment where they were throwing a party. But when she got there, no one else was there. There was no party. The brothers allegedly took turns raping her. The second lawsuit alleged that Whiteman, an Australian, had met the twins at a Manhattan nightclub in 2008 and would frequently see them out and about. Oren pursued her for years, but she always declined meeting up, according to the complaint. Then in May 2012, Oren asked her if she was planning to go to the Hamptons for Memorial Day weekend. She said she was. When Elon saw her there 2 weeks later at a club called Dune, he persuaded her to leave with him. He led her to a black SUV where Oren was waiting. According to the complaint, she was forced in the car and taken to a property known as Sir Ivan's Castle, a Hamptons estate, where she alleged that the brothers raped her. The brothers denied all allegations in both suits, and in a defamation complaint filed in November 2025 against the publisher of The Real Deal, they alleged that Oren had correspondence with Whiteman that purportedly undermined her claims. The Real Deal filed a motion to dismiss the defamation suit, and the court is awaiting the response from the Alexander brothers. Oren and Elon had known about Mandel and Whiteman's lawsuit since January 2024, when a process server arrived at Elon's Miami Beach home and handed his wife, an Israeli fashion model, documents related to the civil suits and a summons to appear. Roughly a month later, the same process server handed a similar envelope to Oren's wife, Camila, a Brazilian model he had married a year before at their Mediterranean-style villa, which sat on the water not far from Elon's home. While Oren and Elon are still married, Tal's wife filed for divorce in January 2025. When Oren heard that The Real Deal knew about the lawsuits, he tried to persuade the publisher to change the story. Orrin sought fair and accurate reporting, says Jason Goldman, one of the attorneys. Fuck off. He provided documentation that contradicted and negated key elements. I'm sure he did. Orrin had fed the Real Deal scoops over the years, he reasoned, and had appeared on several panels hosted by the publication, but the publisher refused. On June 8, 2024, Real Deal published the story. The co-founders, I'll link that story as well. Their co-founders at Official were shocked. What is this? One of them texted Orrin over WhatsApp. He assured them the story would go away. The brothers' attorney was quoted in The Real Deal saying both lawsuits were a total shakedown and that Mandel's suit was very bizarre. But the floodgates had been opened. Even Evan Torgan, the attorney for Kate Whiteman, said his firm was inundated with calls from other alleged victims. Whiteman was found dead in Sydney, Australia, late last year. The authorities say they do not suspect foul play. According to the defamation lawsuit, 8 civil lawsuits against the Alexander brothers have been dismissed. Well, that would be interesting to look into. Oh, look, it's Mark Agnifilio. That's right. I got real mad at Karen Agnifilio. That's right. I said, hey, Karen Agnifilio, what the fuck? Defense attorney Mark Agnifilio argued unsuccessfully for a mistrial. Agnifilio's prior clients have included Sean Combs, Pharma Bro Martin Shkreli, cult leader Keith Raniere, and Luigi Mangione. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really care about Luigi, but Mark, you have some real shitty taste in clients. You understand? But it's about the money, isn't it? It's just the money. It doesn't matter. There's no good people. There's no people that are just like doing things because they should do things. Okay? I got on Karen's case because her husband is a piece of shit. I'm sorry. If this is your list of clients, you're a fucking piece of shit. And you're just in it for the money. You're not in that so that people get a good defense. Fuck you, Mark. Fuck you. Jesus Christ. Yes, there are. Yes, there are what? Yes, there are what? Lunch break. There are, for example, public defenders. Yeah, okay. Well, all right. Is this the same thing? Is this the same thing as a public defender? All right. Well, you know what? Yeah. In the days after the Real Deal story broke, Official's founders held an emergency call during which Orrin said he could show text messages proving the accuser was looking for a payday. He had kept such records of that, so, you know, she was just trying to extort him, says a person who was on the call. Orrin assured the founders the story would go away. For Official, the news couldn't have come at a more inopportune time. June 2024 would end up being the strongest in the history of the firm, with sales totaling $150 million. Official had signed on to oversee sales at 2 glitzy projects in development in Miami, the Raleigh and 888 Brickell, a 90-story building designed and developed by real estate development firm JDS and Dolce & Gabbana. Dolce & Gabbana. Okay, let's see. Was there more here? This is just about the panic. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll just link this in there so that you can take a look if you're interested in the more of that story. But my glee was at the fact that they would be held to some kind of, you know, some kind of, oops, oh, I had that twice. Maybe not. Okay, wait. Whoops. Oh, yeah, I guess that is it. All right, never mind. Sorry, I went to the wrong one. Okay, so that's it for the Tal brothers, the Alexander brothers, you know. Wait, there was really one more. Actually, I'm not having a very good morning. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it now because I'm just not having a very good morning. So, yeah. I think I'll just end it here. Sometimes we have good shows. Sometimes we don't have good shows. I'm not really feeling that great. I don't think I fit in this world. I don't think I fit. So anyway, yeah, you didn't miss it. There wasn't much of a lounge. Okay, well, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, and I really think you're awesome. Thank you so much. Goodbye.